of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, on our agenda this evening, we have reorganization of the board, we have public service announcements, moment of silence, then we will be reviewing the 2021 annual town meeting and special town meeting warrants. Then we will be having an executive session. 6:35, we have a public hearing for Teddy G's Pub and Grill. Department reports, Department of Public Works, Water and Sewer, Town Administrator's report. Then we have several action items, consideration and possible action on discarding items that do not sell for the online auction of surplus items coordinated by the facilities coordinator, consideration and possible action on creating a deputy fire chief position, consideration and possible action on the removal of a water tank at the Fizkill Water Pump Station, consideration and possible action on the acceptance of a donation to the Sturbridge Fire Department and authorize its use and support thereof, consideration and possible action on the acceptance of a resignation of Anthony Messina from the Sturbridge Fire Department, consideration and possible action on disposing off of sale auction of 2 scrap DPW vehicles, consideration and possible action on a change order number 2 for the agreement with New England Mechanical Service for the RTU number 1 at the Public Safety Complex, and number 2 change to New England Mechanical Services RTU number 1. Then we have old business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, citizens forum, and then we adjourn. Okay, Jeff, do you want to handle the reorganization, please?
Sure. With each Board of Selectmen election, the board must reorganize itself at the next subsequent meeting after the votes have been certified. That is tonight. So in order to reorganize, is there a motion for Board of Selectmen chair?
Oh, you want to do it, Chase?
Okay, I'll make a motion to make Mary Blanchard Board of Selectmen Chair.
Okay. Motion by Chase.
I'll second Mary Dowling.
Mary Dowling seconds. Are there further nominations? Make a motion to close nominations for chair.
So moved.
Moved by
Ian.
Ian.
Yep.
Second, but
Second by Chase to close nominations. All in favor of closing nominations? 5-0. Nominations on the floor for Mary Blanchard as chair of the Board of Selectmen. All in favor? 5-0. Chairman Blanchard, the meeting is yours.
Thank you. Okay, do we have nominations for vice chair?
I'll make a motion to make Mary Dowling Vice Chair.
Okay, is there,
I'll second Chase's motion.
okay, let's see. Mary D. Chase, Ian. Okay, any other nominations? Okay, motion to close the nominations?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second, Ian.
Okay, all in favor of closing? Okay, 5-0. Okay, we need a nomination for clerk. I'd like to nominate Chase for clerk.
I'll second.
Okay, any other nominations? Okay,
Caveat. If you promise to read everything really fast when we go through. Because that's always done at the end of the night when we want to leave. I'm just kidding. You have to read it.
you're not.
I know, with a little bit of kidding and a little bit of truth, I guess.
Okay. Do we vote?
No.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay, so Chase, that was MB and MD. Okay, next we have public service announcements. Chase, do you have any?
I do. Oh, I just want to thank all the people that came out and voted in the town election and supported Sturbridge. So,
Mary, do you have any?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate Chase on his re-election and welcome Jamie Goodwin, who got a lot of votes. He's got a lot of support in the town, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. And I also want to thank Mike Supernut for his years of service. Very, very hard worker for the town, always volunteering, and I know he loves the town as well. I have to say I'm glad I didn't have to run this year because we had some outstanding people running, outstanding candidates. So congratulations, Jamie and Chase.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ian, do you have any public service
I
announcements?
think Mary pretty much stole all mine.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome to Jamie, and, thanks to Mike for all his support over the years to the town.
Okay, Jamie, any?
Just quickly, I'd just like to thank everybody for their support, everybody going out and voting, and for Priscilla and Mike for running, and Chase, congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jamie.
Okay, and I reiterate, seems whoever goes first gets the...
Yeah, right.
That's okay. I do have one thing, this is to celebrate Arbor Day. It's whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business area, and beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Sturbridge do proclaim Arbor Day in the town of Sturbridge, and we urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Further, we urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 20th day of April 2021. Can we have a motion to support this?
Make a motion to support Arbor Day.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second Chase's motion. Ian?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Oh, sure.
I also want to thank Priscilla Jimis for giving many years as a select person as well. She wasn't on the board last year, so I didn't think to mention her, but I think everybody that ran really loves Sturbridge, so I just want to give her a shout out as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, could we please now have a moment of silence for all those affected by the COVID? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we have review of the 2021 annual town meeting and special town meeting warrants. Okay. Jeff, I don't seem to have, unless I lost it in the shuffle, number 1 and number 2 article. Well, I can look at the old one. It's the same thing. Okay, article number 1, town reports. To hear the reports of several boards and town officials and any other committee that may be ready or take any action relative thereto. Sponsor, the Board of Selectmen. Do we have a motion to place and support the article?
I'll make the motion to place and support the article.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 2, Community Preservation Committee Report, to see if the town will vote to hear and act on the report of the Community Preservation Committee on the fiscal year 2022 Community Preservation Budget, and to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund a sum of money to meet the administrative expenses and all other necessary and proper expenses of the Community Preservation Committee for fiscal year 2022, and further to reserve for future appropriation amounts as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee. A sum of money for the acquisition, creation, and preservation of open space, a sum of money for acquisition and preservation of historic resources, and a sum of money for the creation, preservation, and support of the community housing, or take any action relative thereto. Sponsor, Community Preservation Committee. Do we have a motion to place and support?
I'll make a motion to place and support the Community Preservation Committee report.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second Chase's motion. Ian?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, Article 3, Community Preservation Administrative Funds, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated fund balance a sum of $15,000 to be allocated for the purpose of operating and administrative expenses in fiscal year 2022 for the Community Preservation Committee, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, do we have a motion to place and support?
Make a motion to place and support Article 3, Community Preservation Administration Funds.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the motion. Ian?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay,
I think it's always 15,000, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Article 4, Community Preservation Debt Service, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated fund balance the sum of $80,000 for the purpose of paying the debt service for the OSV land acquisition, $46,000 for the purpose of paying the debt service for the Heinz Farm acquisition, $96,650 for the purpose of paying the debt service for the Town Hall / Center Office renovation project, $27,950 for the purpose of paying the debt service for the Recreation Court project, or take any action relative thereto. Do we have a motion to place and support?
I'll make the motion to place and support the Community Preservation Debt Service article.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
I just have one question.
Mm-hmm.
The Riverlands isn't on here, is that? Don't we have debt service for that?
Barbara, do we have debt service on the Riverlands in this article? Barbara's on, she'll pop back in.
No, we do not.
Okay, I'm just, refresh my recollection on how come.
I believe we bought that outright. We didn't borrow for that, I don't believe.
Wow, I didn't realize that, okay. Thank you.
Okay, Article 5, Community Preservation, Community-Wide Historic Preservation Plan, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Historical Fund Balance the sum of $15,000 for the purpose of matching grant funds for the Historical Commission to undertake a community-wide historic preservation plan or take any action relative thereto. Okay, do we have a motion to place and support?
That number's going to change. There's been conversations between the Historical Commission and CPC. The amount of the project may be higher, so they're going to go back to CPC and ask for more funds.
Yes, and then they're going to come to us to ask us to reopen the warrant to put in the new sum that's.
Is this pending them getting grant money?
They got it.
Matching it? They got it
got it.
already, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, they got it. So, somebody want to make a motion, though, to place and support?
I'll move.
Jamie? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Chase, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Article 6, Community Preservation Draper Mills Monument Restoration, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Historic Fund balance the sum of $17,500 for the purpose of historic preservation and restoration of the Draper Mills Cemetery Monument in the North Cemetery, including all costs incidental and relative thereto, or take any action relative thereto. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll move.
Okay, Jamie, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 7, Community Preservation Gravestone Restoration, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Historic Fund balance the sum of $9,500 for the purpose of North Cemetery and/or Old Burial Ground historic preservation and restoration work, including all costs incidental and relative thereto, or take any action relative thereto. Sponsors the Community Preservation Committee. Somebody want to make a motion to place and support?
Make a motion to place and support the Community Preservation Gravestone Restoration.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Who was that?
That was me,
Jamie.
the mass man.
It's hard to tell. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 8, Community Preservation Recreational Trails Master Plan, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated fund balance the sum of $11,000 for the purpose of updating the recreational trails master plan, including all costs incidental and related thereto, or take any action relative thereto. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll so move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Do they know who they're going to choose to update the Trails Master Plan?
I think so. This was actually on last year's warrant and was pulled at the last minute because of COVID.
Right.
Okay, Article 9, Community Preservation Street to Beach Entry Road, feasibility study and design, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated fund balance the sum of $35,000 to fund the feasibility study, design, and permitting of a new entry driveway for the Street to Beach recreation area for recreational purposes, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
I'll so move.
Okay, Jamie, is there a second?
Second.
Chase. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay, Article 10, Community Preservation Trails Construction, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated fund balance the sum of $24,000 for the purpose of funding signage, materials, and labor for trail construction on Community Preservation Act purchase parcels for recreational purposes, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
I'll move to place and support the community preservation trail construction.
Okay, Ian, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mary, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 11, we'll do that separately. As a matter of fact, we may need a short special meeting just to go through the line items like we have in the past.
Why are we missing finance committee votes on certain things, just for me?
They had
They did.
questions,
Yeah.
so they've invited
People in,
people in to answer their questions.
yeah. But we make our own recommendations.
Gotcha.
So we'll hold on the town budget. Article 12, road construction, repairs, and maintenance. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate to the road construction, repairs, and maintenance account $150,000 in order to fund road construction, repairs, and maintenance of town roads as determined by the DPW director, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, do we have a motion to place and support?
Also move.
Second Jamie's motion.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
I just have a comment. This is one of those line items that was wiped out due to COVID to make room in the budget, and we're trying to build it back to its original $400,000 plus. But the amount of paving will still be done through the Chapter 90 funds we've accumulated. So the paving program won't suffer.
So as a point of clarification, so last year, had COVID not occurred, this would have been a $400,000.
400 plus, yes. In the pre-COVID budget, it was.
But Jamie, we have quite a accumulation in our Chapter 90 funds. Okay, Article 13, Public Access Department. To see if the town will vote to appropriate from the PEG Access and Cable-related Fund the sum of $252,641, or take any action relative thereto. And it's broken down to salary, wages, longevity pay, employees' benefits, operating expenses, and capital. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll make a motion to place and support the Public Access Department.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second Chase's motion.
Okay, any discussion? Jeff?
This is substantially more than what we've seen in the past for the reasons we're going to upgrade the equipment. Right now, most of the equipment is analog. So we'll be upgrading the equipment in this building, across the street, and provide for broadcast anywhere capability. So that's where the capital money's coming in.
That'll be good. Okay, all in favor? Okay, Article 14, Sturbridge Tourist Association, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate from the hotel motel special account to the Sturbridge Tourist Association account the amount of $119,785, or to take any action relative thereto, and it's broken down: community support, marketing, salary, wages, employee benefits, for a total of $119,785. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll also move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. And Jamie, on any of these articles, we can place. We don't have to support, or we
No.
can vote not to place.
No,
Oh.
thanks, Mary.
Yeah,
I'll slap my table and ask the table.
okay. So, no discussion, all in favor?
How much less is this than usual?
About a third less.
Less.
1/3 less.
Okay, Article 15, Betterment Committee, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate from the hotel motel special account to the Betterment account the sum of $119,785 for the following items. They're all listed there if anyone has any question. Jeff, I did listen to the meeting, that part of the FinCom meeting. Polly Curry is, we used to call it the pot lady when Anne Marie Argyris did it, but we switched it to the barrels. The other thing, the plantings with Bloom Committee, and that used to be a committee that did the triangle down at 131 and 20. They did the corners of it. And I believe there's still a few people left, and they do the urines out in front of Town Hall and on the Common. So there are two separate ones.
Okay, so what's your ask at this flower barrel identification requested by?
Well, no, Polly Curry, because she does organize it.
Okay, all
And,
right.
you know, it is the,
Yeah, I don't
Flower
imagine we've changed any of the people. I don't,
well, a few people have retired from doing it. It's been going on for over 20 years.
That stuck out to me as the only thing that wasn't a department or a group. Just-
Yeah, no, it was originally organized by Anne Marie Argytis, and all those barrels you see,
Yep.
spring and fall, they're volunteers that do it. The money goes to buy the flowers. Okay,
I
somebody,
have just a question.
Mary?
What is Jean planning to do on the wayfinding streetscape improvements for 10,000? What kind of improvements are we going to make?
that goes into that fund that's been developed for wayfinding signage, and it can also be used for, if the board wants to move further on a new welcome to Sturbridge sign, we can use it for that as well.
Okay, that's what I was like, so we don't have anything specific right now by way of improving the,
No, it just goes into the,
Just goes into that pot, but we can use it.
It'll be there.
for
okay.
those things, yeah. We did listen to your request about being able to set money aside, but this year just wasn't the year for it.
well, things are picking up.
And one last
Jason?
question. It says Town Common Summer Concert Series. Are we planning to do the concert this summer?
Yes.
Great, good.
Okay, do we have a motion from someone to place in support?
So moved, Chase.
Okay, second?
One second.
Jamie? Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Chase, I know that you had a question, that joint meeting we had on the betterment funds, how they could be spent.
Yeah.
I'll make a copy for you because it's specific of who's on the committee and what it could be spent on,
Great, thank you.
okay?
I just have one more question.
Mary?
Jeff, on the funding for special events in the community, is that requested by Recreation or the Special Events Committee? I think it's,
It went through Recreation. They put in the request to betterment for it.
Oh.
But it's to support
okay.
Concert on the Commons, it's to support the run, it support the
Okay, so it is
the
special
farmer's market.
events.
those kind of
Events.
things, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Article 16, Capital Improvement Plan, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash and appropriate the sum of $500,179 to transfer from the Water Reserve Fund balance and appropriate the sum of $19,975, and to transfer from the Sewer Reserve Fund balance and appropriate the sum of $19,975 for the purpose of funding the following items, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto from the capital improvement plan to be undertaken for the fiscal year beginning July 21st. Who's the, are we the sponsor on this one, Jeff?
It says so, yes, it's on the next page.
Oh,
Board of Select.
yeah, I turned back a page instead of forward.
And your page 1 for the warrant is on the back side of the Arbor Day proclamation.
Yes,
I saw that.
no, that's where I got it. I thought maybe it was a new page 1.
I just had a couple questions. Are
Mary?
we on capital improvement, right?
Yeah.
Just explain what the lightning protection for the town buildings entails.
We have a variety of buildings that have some surge protection and some lightning protection. So if they're hit, they don't, get damaged by lightning, but we have other buildings that are not protected from lightning strikes. So Robin has done a survey of the buildings that between surge protection and lightning protection, and wants to upgrade those buildings so they're protected.
I'm just curious, like, what do you do to the roof? Like, I have no idea what
They have
that
lightning
means.
rods.
Oh,
Robin, can you give some detail on that, please? She's on.
RC.
Yeah, that's Robin.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Robin.
The lightning protection for the buildings would be a series of rods and cables that would be grounded, and it would direct any direct lightning strikes away from the building and into the ground adjacent to it to protect the building.
Okay, and what buildings don't have them? Or do they all not have them?
Nothing has lightning protection on it right now. So this would be for DPW, the library, center office, town hall, and the public safety complex. We are excluding the senior center,
And why is that?
because its future is pending.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Its future's pending.
Future's unsure.
We can add it if we'd like. We just didn't add it at this point.
Yeah, because no matter what we do with the building, I mean,
We'll figure that
seniors
out.
are still in there right now. I would probably be in favor of including that building.
Robin, can we update that number, please?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
And Robin, a fire alarm for the nursery school? I assume it already has one, but this is, it doesn't work, or we need a new one, or upgrade it, or what?
Yes, it's very outdated. We originally thought the first capital project that was assigned for this was for $5,000 to replace the devices. Unfortunately, after review with the building inspector and fire marshal or fire department, we need a more formal design. So this is for a full new fire alarm, since they do not have a sprinkler system.
Okay. I'm very surprised when we redid both these buildings for what, 6 million, that we didn't have lightning protection. Doesn't sound like, sounds like a pretty basic thing to me. I mean, it's nobody's fault here, it's just that we just, not that long ago, totally gutted this building as well as center.
Yeah, but I think it's
office
just one of those things nobody thinks
thought
of.
of, like-
Do we see some kind of an
Like
insurance
a-
savings by doing that, or is it like?
We've had strikes where we've had to file for claims.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At DPW, a year or so ago, we had to.
yeah. I have lightning rods on my house,
I see the guy from Brookfield all over the.
and they work. You can see it go right down into the ground. It's been hit a couple of times. Okay, do we have a motion then to place and support the capital improvement?
I'll make a motion to place and support capital improvement plan.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second Chase's motion.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, and likewise, we'll probably change one of those numbers.
Yeah, we'll
Bill,
see what happens, yep.
And just because some of this stuff I have no knowledge of, Jeff, just, what is an apparatus technology upgrade for the fire department for 76,000?
Yes. That includes putting computers in the fire trucks like we have in the police cars for pre-plans, data on buildings, communications, those kind of things.
Okay, Article 17, Ambulance Stabilization Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to the Ambulance Stabilization Fund for the purpose of reserving funds for the future purpose of purchase of an ambulance, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
Also move.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
So this is also less than what we usually do.
It's about half.
Yeah.
Okay, 18, OPEB Trust Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to the other post-employment benefits liability trust fund account, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
Also move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 19. Do we have any recommendation?
Not yet,
Not yet.
not yet.
I mean, we definitely want to put it on, so we can place and support and plug in the number later.
Absolutely.
Okay, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Assessors to use some money from free cash to support the tax rate for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2021, or take any action relative thereto. Sponsor the Board of Selectmen, because we have in the past done different amounts.
Yeah, do we not know what we're doing until we get the COVID money? Is that
we're holding out as long as we can until we get the guidance on the federal dollars. So far, that's not been material, that has not happened yet.
Okay, is there a
We're
motion?
gonna run out of time here the next, I think in 2 weeks, we have to figure it out, go, no go.
Yeah. Is there a motion then to place and support?
Well, at least place, right? We don't know the amount.
Well, yeah, well, we can
Okay.
do with the others, go back and plug it in.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure we're
I'll
going
make a motion to place and support pending the amount.
I'll second.
to, okay, because I'm sure we're going to support what it is we can do. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Article 20, revaluation interim adjustments to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $10,000 to the revaluation interim adjustments account or take any action relative thereto. Okay, do we have a motion to place and support?
I'll make the motion to place and support Article 20.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay,
Is this the amount we usually do, 10,000?
Barbara, is this the number we usually do in this item, 10,000?
Yes, it is.
okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 21, revolving fund spending limits fiscal year 22, to see if the town will vote pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 44, Section 53, E and a half, to set the fiscal year 22 spending limits for certain revolving funds as follows. Recreation, $30,000, hazmat cleanup, $20,000, Board of Health, $20,000, Board of Health pay-as-you-throw program, $20,000, Senior Center, $10,000, Planning Department, $10,000, Public Lands, $20,000, Sturbridge Tourist Association, $20,000, CPR, $5,000, House Numbering, $5,000, or take any action relative thereto. Is there a motion to place and support?
So moved, Chase.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second. Jamie?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
I just had a question. On the house numbering, is this when is that project going to be done? I think the fire chief said they wanted to make sure there's numbering on all the houses. That was a few years ago. Is that what this amount of revolving fund is still for, that project?
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of houses that aren't done yet.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious, ask the fire chief at some point when they
Okay.
hope to be done with that. Because I think that was one of the things he wanted to do when he first came on board. Because in case of fire, they wanted to be able to see all the numbers.
Well, we know someone on Holland Road won't do it.
So,
I need to put in for mine. I don't have mine yet.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Okay. Article 22, Water Department, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate through the fixing and collection of just and equitable prices and rates set by the Board of Selectmen acting as water commissioners, a sum of to be determined, and to transfer the sum of to be determined from the water reserve fund balance for a sum total of to be determined for the expenses of the water department or take any action relative thereto. Jeff, we do have a sum here.
Right, we just don't know, the actual spending is down, but so is the number of gallons sold. So we're trying to figure out projected gallons sales for revenue and looking at the expenses. So that's what we're struggling with, because it's down,
Yeah,
over the last few years. So that's what's the unknown, is plugging that estimated sales number.
okay, and then we'll,
Too soon.
yeah, then we'll have to be looking at the water rates and sewer rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 23, Water Department, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate through the fixing and collection of just and equitable prices and rates set by the Board of Selectmen acting as water commissioners, a sum of to be determined from the water reserve fund balance for a sum total of to be determined for the expenses of the water department or take any action relative thereto. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll second.
What is the DPW director, 14,300?
He always gets part of his pay from the
Oh,
water
that's
and
right,
part
okay.
from the sewer,
Sewer, okay.
and then the other part in the
From the budget.
line item budget. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to place and support Article 22?
I mean, I'll place subject to,
Numbers,
yeah, the being, being a placeholder.
Yeah, there's quite a few numbers we're
Yeah.
gonna have to plug in. Okay, that was Jamie, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Chase, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, likewise with the Article 23, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate through fixing and collection of just and equitable prices and rates set by the Board of Selectmen acting as sewer commissioners, a sum of something, and to transfer the sum of something from the sewer reserve fund balance for a total sum of something for the expenses of the sewer department, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, somebody want to make a motion to place and support?
I'll move to place, similar to what Jamie did, pending the
Yeah,
amount.
Okay, Ian, is there a second? Okay, Chase. Yeah, there's quite a few numbers that we
All of
still need, but we do have to,
Can I just jump in
Barbara?
for a second on those two articles?
sure.
We
So
didn't vote on it, by the way.
the budget numbers are the budgets that are necessary for both the water and the sewer budget. Really, the unknown is, as Jeff said, because of the declining water usage, which then equates to declining sewer usage, we need to determine how much of the fund balance we're going to be comfortable with using. As you remember, we have been doing this every year, but really our budgets, because of the declining usage, our rates really do need to go up. So we're trying to balance how to handle that in the coming year. And that's why those numbers are missing at this point in time. So that's
Understand.
really the unknown, is the amount of money that we will be comfortable with using from fund balance. And as we talked about last year, we can't sustain doing that year after year because we're depleting the fund balance. And as we get a little bit further into the warrant articles, you'll see that there's several capital projects that are being proposed that also use that fund balance, which is really what that fund balance is for, is capital, as opposed to, keeping the water and sewer rates stable.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Mary?
I just have a question. I mean, when the Southbridge fees, if we do bring our sewer back to Sturbridge, that's a big chunk of money, 200,000 right now. So, we hoping maybe if it passes that next year, we'll not have the fees to Southbridge?
Well, what will happen is that number to Southbridge will go away, but you'll pay some debt service for X amount of period of years to build the infrastructure to get it back. But long-term, that's money that won't be spent on capital or to Southbridge.
How much have those fees gone up, Barbara, over the years? We're at 200,000 now.
They've continued to go up, and sometimes,
from
it's
last year to this
200,000,
year,
I think, for a while, but the rates in Southbridge have continued to go up. So the amount we pay now is considerably more than what it was when the town entered into the agreement with Southbridge.
Was it 200,000 last year too? Fiscal
I
year
believe so, yes.
21. And how come we're using less water? Do we know?
More efficient
Restaurants and
appliances.
things.
stuff.
Oh, the restaurants. Got it.
Hotels.
Well,
hotels,
beyond that, though,
Showers.
the usage has been going down prior to COVID. So it's not just the effects of COVID. It's also the effects of people conserving water.
Which is a good thing, I guess, really.
You're going to punish people with a higher water rate because they've done such a good job saving water.
Isn't that the way? No good deed goes unpunished. Okay, any more?
Conversations nationwide with water utilities,
Right.
that balance.
Okay, any more discussion on that? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, Article 24, sewer project debt, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $15,263 from the fund balance reserved for sewer betterments to the Phase 2 sewer debt account, $208,588 from the fund balance reserved for water betterments to the Phase 3 sewer account, $139,775 from the fund balance reserved for sewer betterments to the Big Alum sewer debt account, $53,575 from the fund balance reserved for sewer betterments to the Woodside Westwood sewer debt account for the purpose of paying debt service due on these sewer projects for fiscal year '22, or take any action relative thereto. Is there a motion to place and support?
So moved, Chase.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
I noticed on this one, Jeff, that there isn't a recommendation by the Finance Committee, which we discussed earlier. Do you remember what their question was on this, or were you at that meeting?
They didn't get that.
They didn't
far.
get, yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
stopped
That's
at, I think they stopped at,
Was it 8?
after the OPEB trust fund.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. That was all.
Okay.
Which one is the Phase 2? Is that the Fisk Hill whole one? Just refresh my recollection, Barbara. Phase 2 and Phase 3, what neighborhoods were those?
I honestly, Mary, Butch is on the call, maybe he knows. I don't know the neighborhood.
Okay, one of them must be, Fisk Hill, I guess, because that was one of the early projects. Wallace Road, all that. All right, I was just curious.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
We'd obviously have a chance to review this if the Finance Committee was to vote against something. We'd know why, and then we could go back and take it back, or is there, once it's,
No, we can the selectmen can reopen the warrant anytime until it's posted. I mean, there'd have to be a good reason. Good reason is to get a number.
yeah.
I don't consider, no, never mind, I'll keep my
It's not gonna
mouth.
be high, it's not gonna be high risk that they're gonna reject it, I know,
Right.
I would yield to them on.
But if they
things.
do,
My mouth
if
closed.
they do, then we would need a substitute motion.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we have to.
I missed
yeah.
this, I missed this last year because the election was delayed, if you remember.
Oh.
My first meeting was town meeting.
Oh, Ian, I'm sorry, I thought
Oh,
you.
that's why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah, no problem. I thought you had sat through it last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can reopen and reopen and reopen
Yeah, till it's posted.
till we, yeah.
This is the last piece of the yearly puzzle that I'm missing.
Oh, okay. Okay, Article 25, pipe
We
coating,
vote on that?
I don't think we,
yes,
yeah, we did, yeah.
5-0.
yeah, I wrote it down. Okay, pipe coating maintenance program, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the sewer reserve fund balance a sum of $260,000 for the first year of a 3-year program to repaint and reseal tanking and piping of the wastewater treatment facility, including all cost incidental and related thereto, or take any action relative thereto. Okay. We're the sponsors again. Is there a motion to place and support?
Also move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 26, design and permitting for a new wastewater pump station and force main to service the Fisk Hill area. To see if the town will vote to transfer from the sewer reserve fund balance a sum of $200,000 for the design and permitting of a new wastewater pump station and force main to service the Fisk Hill area of town, including all costs incidental and related thereto, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
So moved, Chase.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 27, inflow and infiltration study and repairs, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the sewer reserve fund balance a sum of $90,000 for funding the ongoing inflow and infiltration program for the municipal sewer service, including all costs incidental and related thereto, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
Also move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Just a brief explanation of what the heck that means.
Last year, we engaged Viola to, well, back up even further. DEP is requiring all municipal wastewater utilities to basically stop the inflow of groundwater into the sewer system. So by doing, by TVing the pipes, by rebuilding manholes, by lining the pipes with, it's called an centriform or another liner, replacing lines, you stop that groundwater from getting into the sewer system, and you're not treating groundwater at the wastewater plant. Moreover, you're not having wastewater leak out of your system. And DEP has required towns to initiate programs to correct those problems. Butch, is that correct?
That's correct.
That was a much better explanation, thank you, than the Warrant article, so. Sorry, Butch, it's just not my thing, so.
Okay.
Anytime I see infiltration improvement program, it sounds good. It sounds like something I want to support, but I wasn't entirely sure what I was supporting, so. Okay.
This is also, it's a 10-year program, so this is year 2 of a 10-year program.
Okay, Article 28, tax increment financing agreement and project certification, RLS Complete Regional LLC, to see if the town will vote to approve and certify the local incentive application submitted for 83,000 square foot or greater cold storage facility, including 5,000 square feet of office space and mechanical rooms located at 90 Charlton Street, as shown on the project certification application, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into tax increment financing agreement pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 59, with RLS Complete Regional LLC, or its acceptable designee, all in substantially the form submitted to this town meeting, a copy of which has been placed on file with the town clerk, such approval serving to confirm the information contained in the project certification application that, 1, the project as proposed is consistent with the town's economic development objectives and can reasonably be expected to benefit significantly from the tax increment financing agreement. 2, the project will not overburden the town's infrastructure and utilities servicing the economic opportunity area. And 3, the project as described in the project certification application will have a reasonable chance of increasing employment opportunities, and to authorize designation of the project as a certified project for a term of 10 years and a tax increment financing plan of not more than 10 years, providing for real estate tax exemptions at the following exemption rates on the added value resulting from the project. And it starts year 1 at 100%, and then it goes all the way down to 10% in year 10. Okay, sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll make a motion to place and support Article 28.
Okay, Chase, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, Jeff, can we get a bit more detailed, I mean, this is kind of archaic as laid out. Can you kind of walk us through what this is?
Sure. RLS Complete is a cold storage facility that is going to be constructed at 90 Charlton Road. We have a policy that provides for the application of businesses to get a tax abatement for up to 10 years. They applied for that abatement. The Board of Selectmen appointed a member to the local review committee, which consists of myself, the assessor, the planner, I think the economic development coordinator. And they reviewed the application and recommended to the board that this graduated scale of tax abatement be approved. And the board did approve the agreement. However, that agreement is subject to town meeting approval. This is exactly the same incentive we provided to New England Cold, a very similar facility.
Okay. And so this is all, the actual project is already greenlit and is going forward, and this is just a back-end tax abatement from the DOR, or is it the tax abatement from the towns?
It's from us.
Yeah.
It's their local property taxes. Personal property is not included, just real estate taxes on the improvements. So if it's being taxed as raw land today, those taxes are still paid. It's the abatement on the improvements.
Okay.
Okay, any more discussion?
We had a board select rep on it too. Was it you or Mike?
No, Priscilla.
Oh, it was Priscilla.
No, Chase was on this one.
Oh,
You were on
Chase,
that
that
one?
was you, Chase? Had the
You know,
run
just to give
first.
a little backstory.
We've had so many.
Right, but, you know, it is similar to the New England Cold, like Jeff said, and it's gonna provide, I think, close to
1920.
19, 20 jobs, and, you know, like Jeff said too, you'll still have the tax from the property inside, so.
And I think they were going to favor Sturbridge residents if they could or not.
They were going to favor.
That's for local people,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And it's been through planning and conservation and all that.
The whole kit and caboodle. Just has to go by town meeting. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, Article 29, Emergency Service Radio System Evaluation and Technical Support for Implementation of a New Interoperable Radio System. That's a new word.
It's new to Sturbridge, but it's not new to radio communications.
You mean we're behind the time?
No, I wouldn't say that.
No, okay. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $170,000 to design and support during implementation of a new public safety, including public schools, interoperable radio system. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
Also move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have a question. Is this possible? Now, is this going to improve communication at like the high school? Because don't we have a problem with communication there?
We do. There are several dead zones in the town where our
Right.
current radio system is not, doesn't work. So what this consultant will do is actually design a system to where what's called, you have 95% capability in the center of the road. So anywhere in town at the center of the road, you're going to get 95% penetration of the signal, which for a building like the high school, because it's so massive, you're also going to design amplifiers in the building. So all those kind of things will be enhanced through a series of propagation studies and designs of the new systems.
Okay. But it's definitely going to
Improve.
include
Night and day.
the junior high and high school.
Yeah, all those buildings, even Burgess, if there's dead zones inside the building, they'll put amplifiers in and all those good things, and find out where the dead zones are and enhance those tower locations, all those things.
Okay, any more discussion on that one? All those in favor? Okay. Okay, Article 30, easement to National Grid / Mass Electric for utility pole / anchor and guy at 65 Whittemore Road. To see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to grant to the Massachusetts Electric Company and/or National Grid and to Verizon New England, Inc., a perpetual easement to construct, maintain, operate, and repair for the transmission of electricity and intelligence, utility poles, anchors, guys, and related equipment and appurtenances in, on, or under the town-owned property located at 65 Whittemore Road, on such terms and conditions and for such consideration as the board deems to be in the best interests of the town, or take any action relative thereto. Okay, again, we're sponsoring that.
If I may, as you remember, you gave them a license. They could go ahead and set the poll, with their request being that you replace the license at town meeting with a permanent easement.
Correct.
This is.
Okay, is there someone willing to make a motion to place and support?
I'll make the motion to place and support.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Chase, any discussion?
Mostly by way of a question. Does it have to be perpetual? Was that a condition of the conversation, or?
Most easements
It's
are
a
perpetual.
perpetual.
Yeah, okay.
That's what makes an easement an easement.
Well, no, I understand that. I meant that more does the arrangement have to be, I'm not making an issue. But I just, I'm, as a point of curiosity, is that the industry norm?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Well, like I said, an easement,
Runs with the land. you know
Land.
that, So that's
Yeah.
what they mean by perpetual. It's going to run with,
Yeah, no, I was thinking of the Panama Canal.
okay. All those in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay, Article 31, acceptance of extension of Hillside Drive, to see if the town will vote to accept as a public way an extension of the roadway known as Hillside Drive. As such extension has been theretofore laid out by the Board of Selectmen in the location depicted as Parcel A, 12,879 square feet on the plan entitled Lot Division Plan of Land in Sturbridge, Mass., prepared for Charles B. McDivitt Revocable Trust and Nancy A. McDivitt Revocable Trust, dated March 5th, 2018, prepared by Roger Woods and Company, recorded with the Worcester District Registry of Deeds in Plan Book 933, Plan 112, a copy of which has been placed on file with the town clerk, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by purchase, gift, eminent domain, or otherwise interest in land sufficient to provide for the use and maintenance of said way for all purposes for which public ways are used in the town of Sturbridge, or take any action in relation thereto. Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
I'll make a motion to place and support Article 31. Accepted.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 32, easement on 77 Farquhar Road, to see if the town will vote to grant an easement over a portion of parcel number 270-03455-077, located at 77 Farquhar Road. The easement is described as follows, still being surveyed, I guess. The purpose of the easement is to provide the owners of 77 Farquhar Road access to a barn foundation and shed currently on 77 Farquhar Road. In exchange, and as contained in the easement document, the owner relinquishes all rights to access to the remaining portion of 77 Farquhar Road and the chicken coop foundation contained thereon, or take any action in relative thereto, in relation thereto. Okay, and there's good explanation in the explanation box, and and this is the sponsor is the Sturbridge Trail Committee. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll move to place Article 32.
And support?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Is there a typo in the summary where it says Westville?
Where it says what?
Is that Westville, or should it be Westville, or is that?
yeah, you're
Should be
right.
Westville.
There we go. That any article that has chicken coop in it would at least get one question about it.
Listen, I didn't know if
Everyone's
that was
afraid.
like.
What's the matter with the
Afraid to ask.
chicken? Okay, Article 33, it's a placeholder right now.
I don't know if we're going to move forward with this now or wait till, because we'll have to figure that with codification.
What about Article 34?
That we're going to move forward with. The bylaws will move forward with.
Okay,
What is the readoption of the charter?
When we did the codification, everything was renumbered. Typos were corrected, sentence structure fixed, nothing material. But we still have to adopt the charter with its new numbering system, as we would if we amended it. So that's what we would have to do. That's why it's on here.
Yep.
yeah, because didn't we have an article a couple of years ago where we allowed the town clerk to fix typos and little things like that? Do you remember that,
Perhaps.
Mary?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah, this is
Might
go.
be too comprehensive for the,
Yeah.
to encompass that, but I do remember that.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
will be entirely renumbered and
yeah.
we're still working
Yeah,
on
did
it.
we make that a bylaw, or how did we,
I think it was a general bylaw. But this, with the recodification,
is comprehensive, I guess.
yeah. But we'll really need to have a good explanation so people don't think we're changing the charter.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, Article 34, readoption of the general bylaws. To see if the town will vote to amend its general bylaws by making ministerial and clerical amendments and grammatical corrections thereto, and by recodifying and recaptioning the complete general bylaws, and further to make certain substantive amendments, all as set forth in the final draft of the Code of the Town of Sturbridge dated March 19th, 2021, a complete copy of which has been placed on file with the town clerk and is available for viewing on the town's website. Provided, however, that all general bylaws currently in force and not included in the code shall be repealed, but such repeal shall not apply to or affect any personnel bylaw or take any action thereto.
Do we have some general bylaws that weren't included in the code?
No.
Oh,
There are
Yes,
some
sir.
additions in the back of this document, but
Yeah. Do you remember getting that?
no, I do, I
One
just wanted
thing.
where it says, provided, however, that all general bylaws currently in force and not included in the code shall be repealed. So I didn't know quite what that meant.
I think that's just kind of standard language that
Yeah.
cleans up anything that's hanging out there, unless it's in the codified bylaw, it doesn't, it's gone.
But we didn't intentionally have any gone, we
No.
included it. Okay, so that's,
Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
Make a motion to place and support Article 34.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Will it, with the website built in?
Yes, once we get that uploaded.
Yeah, that are
So subject to that, yeah.
cleaning up.
Cleaning up the cleanup article.
Okay, Article 35, accepting the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 60, Section 3F, establishing a Sturbridge Veterans Assistance Fund. To see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 60, Section 3F, to establish a Sturbridge Veterans Assistance Fund, which statute allows municipalities to design and designate a place on its municipal tax bills or the motor vehicle excise tax bills, or to mail with such tax bills a separate form whereby the taxpayers may voluntarily check off, donate, and pledge an amount which shall increase the amount otherwise due for the purpose of providing support for veterans and their dependents in need of immediate assistance with food, transportation, heat, and oil expenses, or take any action relative thereto. The sponsor is the veterans agent.
Also move. This is support.
I just have a question. So right now, it's not going to, right now, when we get our tax bills, we already have that separate card where we can support seniors in need.
Right.
I forget, senior assistance program. That didn't include veterans on
No.
that.
No.
Barbara,
Okay.
you want to?
Barbara, is this going to be, it looks like this
a
one
new
is
one.
going to be right on the tax bill itself? Or is it also going to be a card like we have for the seniors that meet a certain economic threshold, low-income seniors?
So we don't have a card anymore with the redesign of our bills. There's actually the checkoff box is right on the bills now, and so there'll be if this passes at town meeting, there'll be a second checkbox.
Oh, when
So the
did
one
we
you're
start with
talking
the-
about is for the elderly and disabled tax
Elderly
program.
Oh, but that's now a checkbox as well?
Yes, it just recently changed.
Okay, I didn't notice. I always saw the cards where you could, okay, so they're both going to show up on the tax bill the same way?
Correct.
I think that's a yes. Okay, okay, that's good.
Okay, Ian made a motion. Somebody want to second it?
I think I made.
It was Jamie, and I seconded it.
Oh, okay, mixed Jamie's. Sorry. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Okay. Article 36, readoption of zoning bylaws, to see if the town will vote to amend its zoning bylaws by making ministerial and clerical amendments and grammatical corrections thereto, and by recodifying and recaptioning the complete zoning bylaws, and further to amend the zoning bylaws to make certain substantive amendments, all as set forth in the final draft of the Code of the Town of Sturbridge dated March 19th, 2021, a complete copy of which has been placed on file with the town clerk and is available for viewing on the town's website at www.sturbridge.gov/planning-board/proposed-zoning-bylaw-amendments, provided, however, that all zoning bylaws currently in force and not included in the code shall be repealed or take any action relative thereto. The sponsor is the planning board. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll move to place and support.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, now, Article 37, amendment to zoning bylaws for accessory dwellings. See if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaws, Chapter 18, accessory dwelling units, by inserting the underlined language and deleting the strike-through language as shown below, or take any action relative thereto.
I was going to request that
Mary?
maybe Jean come to a meeting and kind of explain these zoning changes to us.
I thought we went over this one in another meeting, didn't we?
We did, but the fast food and stuff, I don't remember going over it. I just don't want to miss something, and,
That would certainly make sense from my perspective.
yeah, she's done that in the past.
Sounds reasonable. I mean, because we're going to have another meeting anyways.
Yeah.
So we will hold off on Article 37. Okay,
There's several, so.
Yeah, 38
Article,
and 39.
yeah, 38's pretty clear.
But I mean, since she's here anyway, I think they all
Okay.
kind of,
38.
39 kind of
nine,
go together, I think.
Right. 40.
I mean, I'm sure it took
If
Claire
41.
a long time to come up with these, and so 20-minute explanation would be really great.
And 42.
I would bet Cindy's requesting the same.
You never know. Okay, so Article 43,
We're still waiting on the town
Place.
report.
okay, so we'll hold on that. Article 44 is also a placeholder. Article 45 is a placeholder for, well, depending on negotiations. Article 46, also a placeholder, negotiations.
45 and 46 were taken off because we're not at a point where we think we're going to have an agreement by June.
Okay.
Okay, delete those. Okay, Article 47, recreation site plan and concept plan for 60 and 70 Cedar Street, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash a sum of money for funding to complete the full site plan of 60 Cedar Street and a complete concept plan for 58, 60, and 70 Cedar Street, or take any action in relation thereto.
The dollar amount is $70,000. All right. Or, excuse me, $75,000. We're still working on the language of that article, but it's what Annie discussed at the last meeting.
Okay. Okay, do we want to just place it until we get a
Yeah.
definitive number? Okay, is there a motion to place?
I'll make the motion to place Article 45.
47.
Oh, 47, I'm sorry.
Unless you got a lot of money to give out in 45.
Wait,
Wait, mine says 45.
Yeah,
Isn't
I'm
this
a-
a site-
I have two 45s. I have recreation.
Well, I think, are you going, Mary, with the one in your packet or the one that we gave you tonight?
I don't know.
What do we got?
So the one you got tonight took out those two.
Oh, because I thought I had the one tonight, but,
There it is.
So the one tonight has the rec article as 45. The one in your packet has the rec article as 48, I think,
no, 47.
47.
Okay. So, is there a motion to place Article 45? Yeah, Chase,
And Jeff, which
Is-
ones were removed that you couldn't get agreement on? I'm sorry, wasn't
The
following.
two collective bargaining
collective
agreements.
bargaining.
Oh, CBAs, okay. And what is this purchasing land at 53 Holland Road?
That's the Belanger property.
Oh, of course. I'm not used to referring it
Should be-
any other way.
Should be so ingrained. Okay, can we have a second on Article 45?
I'll second Chase's motion.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
It's a placeholder, correct? Because I got a little confused with the 47 for each.
It's 45, the rec article will be a placeholder.
Okay.
now I have 45 as a snow and ice deficit.
Yeah,
Ma-
we got a little
Oh,
extra packet.
that's on this, that's on
Special.
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 Okay, different,
Yeah,
yep,
different.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll remember those accordingly.
Yeah, yeah.
We have one request for opening the article, the Main Street water line. We're gonna have to, it's out here. It's, Butch, you want to chime in on that? The Main Street water line,
It's Maple Street, isn't it?
Maple Street.
I think.
Main Street? Is it Maple or
Yeah.
Main?
Maple.
Maple. Okay.
Yeah, we have two numbers right now because we don't know, we think there may be some cast iron from Main Street out to the Morse Street and Maple Street intersection, which is at the end of that little diamond, just past the town hall. But we don't know for sure, so we're gonna put it in as the full amount, assuming that the water line is asbestos all the way to Main Street for now. And we'll do a test pit at some point, and we may decide to do it all anyway, because no matter what it is, it was put in back probably in the 30s. So we probably should just do the whole street.
Okay, do you want to place it till we get the amount? Someone want to make that?
The amount is $1,100,000 to be borrowed.
Oh, okay. 1 million,
$1,100,000.
okay, somebody want to make a motion, as soon as we have the number?
So moved, Chase.
Okay. That's place and support.
Place and support.
Okay, Chase, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, just, again, I'm a little lost on my papers here, so I'm, I apologize.
You have to be if you're on this board.
If you picked up a set of warrants this evening, it's
Yep.
page 45 and 46. The bottom of 45, the top of 46.
Gotcha.
It's replacing the water main, basically, that's out
Yeah.
between
No,
here and the library.
no, okay, I'm comfortable.
Okay, any more discussion?
Jamie?
All in favor? Okay, then we have the special town meeting warrant.
We'll have to renumber these, of course.
Right, and some numbers to fill in. Okay, so we are starting with Article 45 on the special. That's where we ended with Article 44
Last year? Yeah.
Okay, so this is to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash a sum of money to the snow and ice account or take any action thereof. Okay, we don't have an amount yet?
Barbara, do you have an amount yet for that?
Well, so I'm still hesitant to put an amount in because when I did the warrant article, it was one amount and then we got snow the other day. So it's gone up slightly. So right now, it's a little over $63,000. But I'd like to leave the warrant article as you see it, and then we can make the motion specific as we get to town meeting.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion then to place and support, and we'll have more specific numbers?
What page are we in on?
So we're on the little 2-page,
Special town meeting.
Yeah, but what number is it in the packet?
there isn't a number, it was separate from the packet.
Oh, I only had,
Was it separate?
It'd be
oh,
Article
yes, you're right.
45.
Special town meeting.
Actually, it's
It's just 2
Yeah.
pages, yeah.
49 and 50 in the packet.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, someone want to make that motion then?
So moved on Article 45.
Okay, Chase, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 46, unpaid bills of a previous fiscal year, and it takes 9/10 vote to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from free cash for the purpose of paying unpaid bills of a prior fiscal year or take any action relative thereto.
Barbara, do you have any other bills other than the 2430?
Well, the
There's 2 bills right now, 1,000 and one for 2430. That's all I have at this point, but again, we're gonna not put a dollar amount in just in case something else comes up before town meeting so that we can also address that.
Do we want to hold off until we get the final?
Well, we can place, I mean, it's too bad we don't have more definitive numbers, but it's been tough. No reflection on the finance department.
No.
It's just
Well,
no career.
the problem is if you put, I mean, we could write the article to be very specific, but then once you close the warrant, if something comes in, the moderator won't allow us to add it. And that would mean that, you know, whatever, if there was a company that we owed money to from last year, they'd have to wait till we go to town meeting again. And since we don't do that very often, it just makes sense to leave this as a more general article and then make the motion specific on town meeting floor.
Well, okay, we'll take a motion then to place and support.
Also move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 47, funding for disallowed costs of the fiscal 2012 Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $2,485 to cover disallowed costs from the fiscal year 2012 Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program or take any action relative thereto. Okay, so the grant was audited and a portion of the funds spent were disallowed. Town appealed, but we lost, so therefore the transfer. Is there a motion to place and support?
I'll move to place and support.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Chase.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
We don't have the heat on anymore, do we?
It's warm in here.
I'm like,
The sun was hitting those windows
oh, okay.
earlier, so.
I'm like never hot, but I ain't.
I wasn't gonna say anything because I'm always hot. That's
See, I'm always cold, so for me to be hot is really
why I wore
something.
shorts.
I'm just right.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Just looking at you.
I'm just right, and I have a sweater on.
I wore shorts because I know town buildings
Yeah, no.
built for the cold.
Article 48, I do have sandals on. Electricity budget, to see if the town will vote to transfer some of money from free cash to the electricity budget or take any action relative thereto. Article will fund a shortfall. Likewise, I imagine we'll get the number later on, but we do have to pay our bills. Is there a motion to place and support Article 48?
Also move.
I'll second Jamie's motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Do you have your hand up, Mary?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
Article 49, funding for overlay account, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000 to the abatements exemption account or take any action relative thereto. The article will fund an overlay deficit in fiscal '21 and provide approximately $5,000 for additional abatements for the balance of the fiscal year. The overlay account funds abatements and exemptions that are granted on real estate and personal property bills. Jeff, is this the one because of that one huge abatement?
Barbara, is it because of the one or just the cumulative impacts for this year?
Well, it's cumulative, but that one large abatement was unanticipated.
Okay, is there a motion to place and support?
So moved, Article 49.
Okay, Chase, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, Article 50, Community Preservation Committee, purchase of 48 Old Farm Road and 133, 137, and 139 Fisk Hill Road, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated fund balance the sum of $155,000 to purchase property located at 48 Old Farm Road and 133, 137, and 139 Fisk Hill Road to be used for recreation land or take any action relative thereto. Okay, are we sponsoring this, or?
I think CPC will sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Is it a simple majority vote, or does it need 2/3, or what? It just didn't say in the parentheses like we normally would.
Oh, on there. No, it would, I believe
It'll
it's
be a
just,
majority.
Majority.
yeah. Okay, is somebody make a motion to place
I'll
and
move.
support? That was Jamie.
Yep.
Is there a second? Mary, any discussion?
Now, can I make a, follow their motion on placing it but not supporting it? Because I do believe that it should go into town meeting. Personally, I don't support it, but I support it going to town meeting.
We need to separate the motions then.
Yeah.
We'll vote on this one, and then we can vote on displacing. I don't know.
See if it passes, and then afterwards, if we need to do a substitute motion when we do that.
No, I see Chase's point, because I'm not going to vote in favor of it, but I see no problem with it going to town meeting. So if we want to just, and I know Ian, you
So it's separating
explained.
your resident vote from your Board of
Yeah,
Selectmen vote.
so-
Yep.
You explained that in one of your posts too, that,
I support it going to the town, but,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
So why don't we just compromise and you two people can take back your motion?
Well, why don't you just let, you know what, it's still good to have it in the record. I think that place and support, we're gonna end up voting on it. It looks like it's gonna get voted down, but it's in the record, and then you can have another one to just place. about
We can
that.
propose an amendment to the motion.
Chase, do you want to put it that way?
Yeah, I'll amend the motion to just place Article 50.
Well, hold on, wasn't it Jane?
Yeah.
Didn't Jamie make?
Yeah,
a
so
motion?
it's open for discussion right now, right?
Yeah, he's,
So let's talk about it first. I understand it seems to me that it should just, and again, maybe I'm incorrect, but it seems to me that if it's going to be, this motion will still have to be voted on, and that if the board is not going to vote for this motion, then there is a replacement motion at that time. And I also think it's a little elaborate to say, I mean, well, I'll stop there.
he's not, no, I mean, we could vote on the motion that was made, and if that doesn't pass, then we would just vote on the motion to place.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay,
I'd like to do it that way too, because then if we look back, we know how different, whether we supported it or not.
Yeah.
You know, and residents may want to know, you know, that the board didn't support it, but they placed it. So I'm going to second, because you can't second that one now. Right. So I'm going to second the motion to place and support.
Jamie already made it, and you seconded it
He
already.
made it. He withdrew it because it's place and support. Correct. I'm going to second that one.
Yeah, which you did. Okay, all in favor of placing and supporting? All opposed? Okay, that doesn't pass, so Chase, you want to make your motion?
Yep. I'll make a motion to place Article 50.
Okay, Chase, I'll second that. I haven't seconded anything. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, it should go to town meeting. The only people we seem to have heard from before were the people in favor of it, and there's been a lot of talk.
The Finance Committee is going to hear from both sides on the 29th before they vote on the article.
Okay,
When we do put the summary in, I'm just going to request, because people will want to know how many acres they're getting for $155,000.
That makes sense.
It's gonna be good. Everybody will have to stay for the whole meeting, because that's gonna be the last one.
okay.
Usually the most controversial is up front, and everybody leaves, so this year they'll all be stuck there till the end.
Okay, now I'm
Do you
going to,
do the special town meeting warrants first or the regular town meeting?
last,
Last, oh.
yeah. We used to do it like at 7:30, or some other time we'd pause, but then,
I thought we used to do it first, start first with this one. Didn't we do that when I first got on the board? I thought we used to start with special town meeting. Never?
no, we stopped. I remember stopping, people didn't want to stop. At least my recollection. Okay, now we do have
Have an executive session.
session, which is under a new statute that I've never seen before.
This was from the attorney direct.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So,
Attorney direct program.
right, okay. So could somebody please make the motion to convene an executive session?
I so move.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Too fast.
We have to give a reason. To comply with the requirements of Mass General Laws, Chapter 60, Paragraph 167, Purpose 7. Okay, do we have a motion?
I so move.
Jeff?
Just after you vote into executive session, I think you should set a time you're going to reconvene in regular session, because I'm going to dismiss everyone that's online and not have them return until, you should not reconvene until the time you tell them so they can come back in.
Right. Okay, Jamie, you made that motion.
I did, yes.
Somebody second it?
I'll second.
Okay. Chase. Okay, Chase, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
And I vote yes, and we will reconvene in open session at approximately,
6:45.
that's what I was thinking, 6:45.
Okay, everybody that's on the go-to meeting, other than Mr. Giordopoulos, please dismiss yourself. I'm going to lock out the meeting for executive session. Please turn off the TV.
interest on their liquor license at the premises currently located at 179 Main Street. Chase, could you read the public notice, please?
Town of Sturbridge Public Hearing Notice. Notification is hereby given that an application has been filed by Teddy G's Pub and Grill, Inc. for a change of officers, director, LLC managers, and change of stock interest on their liquor license at the premise currently located at 179 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass. 01566. With the Sturbridge Board of Selectmen in accordance with the MGL-CH 138, a public hearing will be held on Tuesday, April 20th, 2021 at 6:35 p.m. This hearing will be held virtually. The Sturbridge Board of Selectmen-elect, consistent with Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, to hold the public hearing virtually. Details regarding how to virtually access a meeting can be found at sturbridge.gov. Town Administrator, how to access virtual meeting.
Okay, good evening, Teddy. Okay.
How you doing?
Do you want to just give a short explanation of what this entails, please?
So basically, we just, we added Jenna to the corporation as an officer and as secretary. And after we did that, we just want to add her to the liquor license as well. Nothing else is changing on the liquor license as far as the manager or anything like that. My name's still staying on there. It's just adding her to it.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay, it's a public hearing, so input from the audience?
Anyone at home would like to speak to this application?
Okay, hearing none, somebody wants to make a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second, Chase.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, somebody willing to make a motion on the application?
I'll make a motion on the application.
What's the motion?
To approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, Ian.
It's okay. One abstention.
We're gonna wait here till. Okay, that's. Okay, 401. Okay, you're all set, Teddy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck
Thank
this
you.
year.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, Jenna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have department reports, Department of Public Works. Butch, good evening, Butch.
Good evening. Welcome to the crew. February, March, I got tonight. February, we were still pretty busy with snow and ice, pretty active month. So there's not much outside of that on here. Mostly just plowing, salting, clearing sidewalks and fixing equipment. In March, snow had let up a little bit, which was nice. But the only thing really noteworthy on it is we did get the Fiskville pump station delivered and installed. And right now, we're scheduled to have the electrical hookup on May 5th. So we should be able to cut that over sometime mid-May and have that online. Other than that, any questions?
Okay, anyone have any questions on his two reports? Butch, I just have a question on both sick time and other time. Sick time before, in February, how do you get .875 man days?
That's a good question. It could be a partial day they went home, or it could be a couple of different people went partial days home. It's more like somebody left at like 1:30 and then somebody left at noon one day.
Yeah.
So you get partial days.
Yeah.
That's the only way. I'd have to ask April.
Yeah, could you please, and then the same thing on page on the March one, it's an odd number. Also, what are the 90 days when it says other time, 93 main days, and there was another one, man days?
Other days is probably, I have to check with April again, but probably when we were on shifts, we were, only half the crew was in at one time, so when they weren't in, they were on other time.
COVID-type operations. So they were all in the building at the same time.
That's since gone by.
Okay, it's just a large number.
Yeah, no, because you had a whole crew, there were 5 or 6 people sitting that weren't in at that time unless we needed them for snow and ice.
Also, I got a email from a lady that's quite concerned about the safety on Route 20. I know it's not our road, but she was wondering if anything could be done about the crosswalk walk up near McNuck's. She said she uses it 3 times a day, and she said cars just don't stop and zoom by. So she thought maybe if the state at least repainted the lines. So
Yeah, we could look into putting in a, like in front of the public house, we have one of those push button signs that flashes. I don't know who paid for that. I got a feeling we did, because we seem to maintain it. So I could look into that.
yeah, that would be good.
But along
Okay.
those,
No, Mary?
but along those lines, the crosswalks in general on Route 20 are very faded. They,
Yep.
and I
can
know that's
request it
the
up there.
state, but even down by Cedar, Cedar Cafe, those are pretty faded. The ones further down on 20 are pretty faded as well.
Yep, no, I can put a request in. Last time I did, they came right out and painted them, so
Right.
I know.
I'll put it in.
Chase?
Yeah, Butch, I just wanted to talk to you. On election day, I had a woman come up to me, and she was very complimentary of all of our Sturbridge roads. But Route 20, which is not controlled by us, she felt needed a lot of help from the state as far as cleaning and maintenance that we're talking about. And I didn't know if it would be a good idea if we wrote a letter to the state as a board and, Butch involved, explaining that that is our downtown district, and, maybe they could take a little extra care of the area, because this woman was very adamant about that. And I agree with her, that's a highly traveled area.
I have no problem with that. It's probably not a bad idea, because as it stands now, I used to have a lot of contacts there that have retired, so people that I'm dealing with now are not people that I knew in the past. So our response may not be as good, so that wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
Okay, cool.
Okay, anything we can do, though?
That's a good idea to have a letter,
Yeah.
something in writing.
I can prepare something if you give me the details on what kind of the deficiencies you're seeing.
Okay.
So we can put it in the letter.
Other than the potholes.
That's
Enough,
another.
The sidewalks are horrible, the utility
Yeah.
poles are in the way.
Yes, thank you for the potholes. But may I?
Mary.
Butch, yeah, the pothole, going into Santander Bank is not covered. I mean, if somebody walked and they put their foot in there in the dark, their ankle is gonna go right down. They didn't cover that pothole at all. So, I mean, someone could get very injured, and it's a liability. It's the road into Santander Bank, and it also goes to the OSV lodging houses, right off of 20.
Yep, we can sneak over there and take care of that.
Yeah. Thank you for
But I'll
that.
put a request in for the other potholes.
Right. Okay, anything else for Butch? Anything else for you, Butch?
Nope, not now.
Okay, thank you, and have a good night.
Yeah, I got some other stuff, so I'll be sticking around.
Oh. Okay, next we have water and sewer. Is Shane with us?
He is. Shane?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'll start with my operation reports. You actually have 3 months worth since I've been in front of you. You have January, February, and March. So I'll start with any question on those.
I didn't have a question, but can you highlight anything different in those 3 months for us that you want to draw to our attention?
Really, it's been pretty much business as usual. The only thing is, in the March report, the town was recognized for its fluoridation efforts by the state.
Right.
I included that. Besides that, in those reports, it's really just business as usual. Nothing really stands out.
Yes, congratulations on that.
Okay, Jeff?
Thank you.
Shane, can you talk a little bit about the volume differences we're seeing from prior years in terms of, amount of water sold and sewage received?
Yeah, obviously, just like everything else with the COVID, the usages has gone down. It's starting to come back a little bit. It's tough for me to tell right now because we're also out in the middle of flushing hydrants. I do believe on the water side, the new RV resort, and talking to the owner, I had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago. They've already booked over $250,000 in business. I believe that they will become our biggest water user in the summertime. So hopefully things will come back, but yeah, we didn't pump as much water and we didn't take in as much sewer, and it was definitely directly related to the COVID.
Okay, Shane, on the February report, I don't know if it just didn't get printed off, but we don't have the page with the safety and treatment plant performance.
Okay, I'll resend it in the morning. Maybe I just printed it all wrong. It should be in there. I apologize for that.
Because I like to check off the decrease and increase. And
Yeah, I'll resend it tomorrow. That's not a problem.
okay.
I know I did it.
Yeah, we have it on the others, but that one's missing. Does anyone
Yeah, I'll
else
resend it. I'll
have any
resend that
questions?
tomorrow.
Okay.
And Shane, our wells are back up even after the spill at OSV? All the wells are back on?
Yeah. Yeah, the cleanup effort over there continues. Butch and I were pretty much adamant that we would not restore that well until someone from DEP actually gave us the okay. After a couple emails and not getting any answers, finally we got an answer, and yes, that well has been restored to service, even though the oil spill cleanup is still ongoing. But the DEP said it was okay to activate that well. So yeah, right now, all the wells in town are up and running.
Now, how long will it take for the oil spill cleanup to come to an end?
That I don't know. I saw the state has CC'd me and Butch on the plan. Really, it's more of a state issue with OSV. I know they're actually trying to remove the oil that's underneath the building, which is a process. We could reach out to them and see when they anticipate it's gonna be done and report back to you.
Okay, anything else from anyone? Anything else, Shane?
No, just that we're gonna be, like Butch said, the pump station electricity will be hooked up, and hopefully we'll be able to get that up and running by the end of May. And we're gonna be finishing flushing the fire hydrants. We're actually almost done. We probably got about 60% of the town done. And we also did the water meter upgrade to our software, and that went really well. And this past bills that just came out, we used a new software to read with, and it worked really, really well. Very happy with that. Besides that, that's all I have for you this evening.
Okay, Shane, on the septage, we increased the cost of taking septage in. Did that go into effect January 1st, or is that going to be July 1st?
It went into effect January 1st.
Okay. Been no pushback on it?
No, because all the other towns are at the same price, and actually, I know Mike's not on the board anymore, but what I wanted, this will be the rush season. Usually in the spring is when we get the most septage. So probably like June or July, I'll run another analysis to see, you know, how much money it's producing. And I come back to you in June. I will put that in the June report so you can see exactly where we stand on money taken in versus money to bring the sludge to the Cranston plant.
Okay, thank you. So I guess that's it. Have a good night, Shane. Thank you.
Okay, you too, thank you.
Okay, next we have town administrators
right.
report.
Thank you. Let me get to that page. The police fleet report is in the packet. You asked the chief for that, and he's on the call later if you have any questions. New fire truck is in the works. Sent you some pictures of a very empty frame and the body, but it's a start. Road paving list, which can address this, but he's working out the costs on his program for the year, and we should have that in the next week or so. And the fire department received a $12,500 grant for basically tracking the firefighters at a fire scene, so we can log people in and out and make sure we keep track of those that are in a fire. Also today we had a meeting with the horse park proponents. The land use group met and went over. They had more questions for us than they had answers, so they've really just now started with any kind of land use type review and environmental review. So that was today. They're going to be back in a few weeks with some additional information, and then probably, I think at the next meeting, we'll present you the current draft of the bylaw. Again, this is not on the June town meeting, but we can give you the bylaw as it stands so far. Mr. Goodwin was in the meeting today because he was a beneficiary of your meeting with the developers earlier, so they invited him to sit in today just to ask any questions or hear any input. But they had really
Nothing to
nothing. They're still just getting started. I think COVID kind of sent them back on everything, so.
This is a little bit, it's related, but it's not directly related. But I've had a few residents, and I think we talked about it before, receive a spam. It comes up as spam, but they're getting calls. It's an automated phone message saying, you know, what do you think of living in Sturbridge? And ask various questions, and then it says, do you support, you know, an equestrian facility or whatever? And I have a few residents ask who is generating it. So if you could, at the next meeting, ask the applicant, is that part of their own marketing? Are they the ones who are behind it? Because I wasn't able to say. It sounds like it could be, but I mean, I don't know. So maybe that question can be asked.
I asked Mr. George, who's their local representative, if
Right.
that was the horse park people. He said it wasn't, because he went back to his marketing folks, but I can follow up again and ask again.
Okay. Did he indicate whether he knew who it was?
He didn't even know that the calls were going out when I asked him, but we can follow up again.
Yeah, just because, yeah, I've had more than one person now ask me about it, and I didn't have an answer, so.
I didn't think they were going out before election.
Yeah, I was getting one before the election.
Yeah.
Is this a recent one that's maybe different? Or?
Well, the election just happened.
Yeah. No, but
Right, so I don't.
After that, it was like, do you approve of Jeff Bridges, then Chase Kavinsky, and it kind of.
And then it was,
online.
they just mentioned the facility. It was it was in the last few weeks that I've had like maybe 2 or 3 people ask me.
Yeah, because I originally had gotten 3 of those calls.
Okay. Now, I don't know that's when they got in touch with me. I don't know if they're referring to something that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, earlier than that, you know, but, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, next we have action items. Consideration and possible action on discarding items that do not sell for online auction of surplus items, coordinated by the facilities coordinator, Robin.
think overall, we did very well on the auction. $40,000?
Yeah, 40,930.
Too bad, probably when all the stuff was brand new, cost us $500,000. I could have sworn someone would want that voting machine, it makes a great conversation piece in your living room,
Put it down in your den,
you know.
stain it and lacquer it up.
Kids come home with their report card, you grade them on it.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on any of them?
I just do with the chemical tank. She wants to dispose of it by scrap or refuse. Is that considered, hazardous waste, a chemical tank?
Robin, can you chime in on that, please?
Perhaps Butch, actually, thank you for showing your screen, Butch. Perhaps Butch can help me out on the details of that chemical tank. But my first inkling would be to check with DPW and water for what the chemical were, make sure that it was rinsed properly, and then hopefully be able to get some scrap value for that, for metal.
Yeah, or maybe check with the DEP too. I don't know, I see chemical and then I think,
Chemical.
hazardous chemical. I don't know if you can scrap it, so I want to make sure we do that right.
Butch, what was in
And I
that
agree.
tank?
That's the thing, it's been sitting here since I got here and since Robin got here, so neither one of us know what was in it, but Shane would know, so we'll check with him.
Okay.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion then to authorize the disposal by scrap or refuse of the unsold auction items,
I just have,
also pending.
yeah. Well, the 3 groups of light bulbs, are those all new, like not used and nobody wants them? Or are they all used light bulbs? I mean, I don't know.
The
3
picture
groups
looked
of
like
light
they're
bulbs.
Older, less energy efficient. and
Right.
So we moved on from that style of bulb.
Yeah, Robin, what do you know about the light bulbs?
Yeah, we had 5 groups of light bulbs out. The 2 groups that were LED did sell. These groups that are remaining are incandescent and compact fluorescent. So yeah, the non-energy efficient ones we were not able to sell.
I just like to be able to give them away to, somebody. I don't know, I just feel like if they're new, I know they're incandescent, but like a food pan, nobody would want.
Put it at the swap shop at the dump.
Is that even open yet?
I don't know, are they
I don't
doing
think
that?
so.
I don't know, I just feel bad to scrap them. We can't give them to a charity, like a food bank, to light their, kitchen or whatever. If they're new, I just feel badly to just scrap them.
Yeah.
I would rather try to give them away to a charity. That's just me, I don't
We can
know.
look around.
Yeah, it's-
I can also ask John Booth at the recycling center if it's something that he thinks if we put it in the take it or leave it, or if we put it next to the light bulb disposal section as new and available, if you are open and amenable to that.
That would be good, and put new. I mean, somebody will take them, I would think.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a motion then to authorize disposal by scrap or refuse of the unsold auction items?
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I think I'm probably just going to vote against it, and I think that you can leave it at the take it or leave it. I think these are.
It's not open yet, though.
I know, but then just hold on to them for a little longer, because I mean, a workstation for 4 people, there's probably a college kid that would pick that up, and I would just leave it at the take it or leave it myself. Maybe not the chemical tank, but the other stuff, a rectangular wooden table.
Well, maybe Jamie can add on to his motion with the exception of the light bulbs and chemical tank.
And the wood table and the.
I mean, I
Work-
would just say, how about safe?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
to dispose of these, and then Robin can see what she can do with the tank and the bulbs.
Yeah.
That way this can go. That's just, I mean, you already gave the motion.
Oh, no,
Robin to use best judgment.
yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. I would defer to Robin to use the best judgment.
On those two.
Yeah.
On all of them, I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, she does.
yeah, I mean, no, Robin, if I would try to leave it at the take it or leave it, including the rectangular wood table. And if nobody wants it, then we can scrap it. But to me, there could be a resident that would grab that. And that's why we have take it or leave it. That's where I'm coming from.
Sure, I can do that. So the motion would be then to dispose of or offer for free at the recycle center?
I would support that kind of a motion, yes.
Yes.
I so amend my motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second Jamie's motion, amended motion.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, next we have consideration and possible action on creating a deputy fire chief position. Okay, we had this on our agenda last meeting, but we carried it over. Chase had wanted to read a few things.
Yeah,
Chase?
yeah, Chief, I did some homework on this, and I was hoping you could kind of answer some questions, and then I wanted to throw it out to the board members and see where it stands, because I feel like there is some really good things about this, and then I had some questions that I was hoping that you would calm down. The first question that I had is, we used to have a captain in the fire department, if I remember correctly. Would this position be comparable to a captain, and what would be the difference? Because it seems like it would just be easier to, if we had a captain, just restoring that position. So I was hoping you could talk about some of the differences. Then, something that I feel is a positive about this that I wanted to let the board know is a fire inspector. I mean, that is a nice thing to have in town, you know, someone who can review plans and go out to these businesses and actually inspect them properly. And then my last question is, in civilian terms, because this was my concern. If we have a fire chief, and then we have a deputy fire chief, and then you have 3 lieutenants, it just seems top-heavy for me. But I was hoping you could explain in civilian terms how lieutenants may be different than that of the police department in your department.
Sure. So generally in the fire service, the rank structure starts with privates. Those are your firefighters. The first level supervisor is a lieutenant. The second level supervisor is a captain. And generally in bigger departments, the captains are supervised by a battalion chief. So the way the rank structure works is a lieutenant is a single company officer. Generally, they're responsible for one small group of firefighters. In this particular case, it's 3. The captain in larger departments is responsible for multiple fire companies. So they would oversee the lieutenants. And then the battalion chief would oversee a geographical area, which would oversee both of those. To answer your question about the terminology, the deputy chief's position is a non-union administrative level position, whereas a captain would normally be a union position, and it would be a line level, meaning in the firehouse, working actively as a company officer, but overseeing the lieutenants at the same time. So the distinctions between the 2 positions are significant. One is primarily an administrative position, that being the deputy chief, and non-union. The other being more of still a line firefighting position, although with more supervisory responsibility than a lieutenant. Also, with regard to the nomenclature, Selectmen, one of the things that I thought was interesting that the Compensation Commission consultant suggested regarding the town's choice of using the 70th percentile was that the town of Sturbridge should be looking for the cream of the crop as far as an applicant pool. It's my belief, and it's the belief of many of the people in the fire service, that nomenclature is going to make a big difference as to who applies for this position. Somebody looking for a command level position, as much as it may end up being semantics to some people, is going to be looking for the title deputy chief and not the title captain. And my concern is, if we make it a captain's position, even if it's a non-union command level position, the pool of candidates we're going to attract is not going to be the same quality as the pool of candidates we will attract using the title deputy fire chief. So I'll let you digest that for a second, and if you want to discuss it further, we can before I go on to the next items.
Could I just ask one follow-up question as far as that? When we did have a captain, okay, is the pay comparable to a deputy chief? I understand what you're saying about the non-union and the union, and I get why you would want a non-union member now, and I understand about the jury pool, not the jury pool, but the pool of candidates you would pick from would be a higher quality, it would be a higher sought position. But is a captain's pay, when we had a captain, comparable to the deputy chief? I'm just looking for ways to help you get this position, I guess.
Well, it's hard for me to answer that because that captain's position went away in 2013.
Okay.
And I think the economics were completely different between then and now. I can tell you that, in the fire service in general, a deputy fire chief's pay is going to be higher than a captain's pay.
Okay.
But I can't speak to what the captain made.
Okay, yeah,
prior to
no,
2013.
I understand that. Okay.
Madam Chair, may I ask?
Jamie? You go first, Jamie.
Would typically, Chief, would a captain get overtime in a traditional firehouse?
Yes.
And would a deputy chief receive overtime?
No.
Yeah, and is our intent to have this deputy chief receive any overtime compensation?
No.
That was it.
Okay, Mary?
Chief, I was hoping that I can ask a few questions for you to address the letter that we got from the Teamsters Union that represents our firefighters, because I think this came after we had our discussion. I know you met with different selectmen, and to give us the background, and I think that was before the union wrote the letter, basically supporting your desire for a deputy fire chief, but vehemently opposed to eliminating a frontline, not filling the position that was held by firefighter Volpe. So I just want to direct your attention to the second page of the letter. It says, reallocating the position's funding would result in a dangerous delay in the funding and ultimate filling of this vacant full-time position. Now they're referring to the firefighter position. This delay would prolong the current shortage of frontline personnel, putting both residents of the town and other firefighters at undue risk for an unseen length of time. Do you agree, and I assume you, well, I don't want to be presumptuous, but the shortage of a frontline person, because we're not going to fill that, do you agree that it puts residents of the town and other firefighters at undue risk by not having that frontline person? Because we're basically now going to eliminate one firefighter frontline person. And that did cause me some concern when I read that, because obviously we want to do what's in the best interest of our residents and the safety of our firefighters. So I'm hoping you can address why eliminating this position is not going to do either.
Yeah, I absolutely disagree 100%, and here's why. We have currently 12 full-time firefighters that are working. They are split up into 3 groups. Each group has a lieutenant and 3 firefighters. That allows me, with 4 people, to staff 2 ambulances on a full-time basis. But it also allows me that if one ambulance goes out, I have 2 people left in the firehouse to respond to either the next ambulance call or a fire call. With that position that we're talking about, that would mean there would be 5 people on one of the groups. So again, if both ambulance goes out, I have 1 person left at that firehouse, and that person cannot respond to a call by themselves. So they become really a lame duck at that point. We're still going to be required to call people back in, whether that person is on duty or not, because they can't respond by themselves. And if nobody is willing to come back in, then we have to go to mutual aid, regardless of whether we have that position or not. So the response times that we are going to provide are not going to change with that person on duty or without that person on duty.
Jeff?
The author of the letter for the union, Mr. Marks, is on the call. He is representative of the Teamsters.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Is the
I just would like
representative planning on requesting any input?
Well, I'll ask him.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we're.
It's up to the board.
It's up to you.
First of all, I mean.
Right, I get it.
Okay, anybody else want to ask or say anything?
Well, I think the chief was going to say something, it seemed like. Did he have something further he'd like to add?
Chief, were you about to say something?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just wanted to finish answering Selectman Kavinsky's questions from earlier. He asked the differences between a lieutenant in the fire service and a lieutenant in the police department. And I will just make the distinction this way. A lieutenant in the fire service is somewhat similar to a sergeant in the police service.
Okay.
And although the terms are the same, the police lieutenant is the second in command of the police department. And if I believe I'm not wrong, but I believe that the lieutenant in the police department is also a non-union command level position. So there's quite a distinction between the two positions from fire to police.
Okay, thank you. So currently you don't have, and I'm speaking in very common terms, currently you don't have a number 2 in command. I mean, it would go to the lieutenants and then they would supervise their shift.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And the problem with that is they have other duties that they are responsible for with regard to their crew members that really conflict with having to operate at a different command level.
Okay, Mary?
I just want to make sure I'm totally clear on this. Right now, with your 12 full-time firefighters, you are able to man both ambulances on a full-time basis, 24 hours,
That's correct.
without filling that vacant position.
That's correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Jamie?
Just 2 quick points of follow-up. Chief, what schedule would this deputy chief be working?
This individual would be working a Monday through Friday administrative schedule. One of the things I'm considering is a 9 to 5, simply because this position would be the town's fire inspector, and that would be the most convenient for the businesses in the town to have access to this individual with regard to plan review, inspection questions, and code compliance.
And Chief, did anybody else want to be, in the department, want to be the fire inspector?
We offered it to the members of the union. One individual did express interest. Subsequent to that, that individual has informed me that they may be leaving for a different department.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. I have nothing further, Madam Chair.
Okay. Anyone else? Chief, this letter from the Sturbridge Firefighters Union, I tend to agree with their points. The next to last paragraph on the second page, we do not support the plan to reallocate funding of firefighter Volpe's union position to instead fund the deputy chief position, nor do we support the prioritization of this position over the vacant full-time position. Filling of the, and then it goes on to the next page, filling of the currently funded yet vacant full-time position should be prioritized without further delay. I have not been all along convinced that we need a deputy fire chief. I really think we need another full-time firefighter. Okay, I can't see his name, Jeff.
Jim Marks.
Marks?
Marks.
Mr. Marks, would you like to say anything?
He's
It's frozen.
He's frozen
I
right
think
now.
he
Jim?
switched to the car and.
Yeah, he jumped in his car.
The clarity is terrible tonight with
The sound.
the sound. That's what I mean. I could barely understand our chief.
Well, he's sitting away from the microphone. Chief, you got to get closer to your microphone.
I apologize.
It's still not fun.
Jim, are you there?
Yeah, he dropped.
He's frozen.
It's really frozen.
He's frozen solid.
And it's warm outside.
Oh, maybe.
Some activity.
Jim, are you there? Jim Marks, can you hear us? No.
Modern technology.
Give it one more second. Jim? You want to move on to the next item until he comes back? Or you want to keep this one up, or what?
Yeah, we can come back to this if he gets back on. If not, we really need to move on it anyways. It's been sitting around long enough. Okay, the next on the agenda is consideration and possible action on the removal of a water tank at the Fiskill Water Pump Station.
Hey, hold on. Jim, is that you?
Yeah, my internet went out of my office, so I was trying to get it on my car. I'm having some issues, so I'm on my phone now.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Marks, did you have anything you wanted to input?
Well, there's a couple things that, there is a couple things that we'd like to discuss. First off, we'd just like to say that we do support the deputy chief position. But, you know, it's hard for us to give up a boots on the ground position when, it's a safety factor. And I was cutting out, I was hearing part of it, I was not hearing all of it. I understand that, you know, the chief was talking about with 4 people, he can send out an ambulance and a truck to respond. But with 5, that person's, a lame duck. He can't do anything. Well, I don't think that's quite accurate. He can respond in a command vehicle and stabilize, the scene. So they can respond. They're not useless. The other thing that I'd like to point out is, the chief at this point does not fill vacations or call-ups. That's done by overtime, right? So it's either overtime or he doesn't fill them at all. So if there's options for overtime, the guys take it. If they don't, if the chief doesn't fill it, then there's no options. And 9 out of 10 times, the chief doesn't fill those. In situations where we've recently had injuries, it's hard for these guys to fill those shifts to make sure that you can operate, to make sure the community can go and, the fire department can respond to the community, to the incidents that are at hand. Problem being is, Sturbridge is unique. And when I say that, you have a lot of interchanges that run through. You have to take care of 84, you have to take care of the Mass Pike, you have to take care of 20, 9, 49 versus other communities that don't have that. So when we look at a boots on the ground person and losing that person, we look at a response time, we look at injuries to officers, fatigue to officers if they have to fill in those shifts. So there's a bunch of things that are going on here. You know, a captain's position, if you look at a captain's position, and I think we talked, the chief said he couldn't talk about a dollar value for what a captain made back then to what a captain maybe would make now. I can tell you that a starting captain paramedic pay is $74,305. That's per our contract. So there are captain's rates in our contract. A captain can do a lot of the functions that a deputy chief can. Once again, we're not against the deputy chief position. We understand that there needs to be a command presence in place. The problem becomes is that we don't think we came late to the game because we feel there was some lack of communication. But B, you know, when you look at the opportunity to move forward and help the chief with that chain of command, we feel there are options on the table that are being left off. And right now in the union contract, it does give us the ability to have a captain's position. It does give us the ability to promote lieutenants. There's some concerns that on the deputy chief position in the pool, would our members be able to apply for that? We are being told that there are some candidates that have already been looked at or are in favor of the position before it even has been posted. Accurate, true, it's hearsay, but that's concerning to myself and to my members that somebody wouldn't have the opportunity to better themselves. Where do we go from here? You know, we're okay on a very short term giving up a boots on the ground person to get a deputy chief to help the chief out. The problem is, without some kind of commitment that we would be able to fill that boots on the ground person, that fifth person, you know, it leaves us with no other option except to look at the captain's position and some other ways to make what we need done in the department happen. So, you know, I guess what I'm looking for from the selectmen, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk. I apologize for some computer snafus. I wish I could see you guys. You know, we're looking to see, do we have a timetable that we might be able to fill that boots on the ground person? If the union endorsed deputy chief, do we have a timetable that we could move forward with and possibly get that boots on the ground person that we're giving up, that we have funding for now? Other question becomes, would the selectmen be willing to entertain a captain's position? If you look at surrounding communities, there's a lot of communities out there that have captains that are border to us. You know, you look at Douglas, you look at Dudley, you look at Leicester, you look at Southbridge, Spencer. Those are all ones that have deputy chiefs and also have captains and lieutenants. So, you know, we're looking to see, you know, there's ways to help, and it seems like the role of the deputy chief and the work that the deputy chief would have, playing a role as a fire inspector, playing a role as an incident commander, so many other things. It feels like that the job that the deputy chief would be doing his plate would be so filled that he wouldn't be able to help us out in those calls when we need it. So, we're looking for a little feedback from the selectmen. Would you have a timetable? Would the next person to be hired within the town, could that be a firefighter that we just lost? We want to endorse the deputy chief, and we do understand. But unfortunately, if it comes in the cost of losing boots on the ground, we're having a hard time with it. And, without other chain of command within the fire department, a captain's position being one of them, there's options there. And there's options there that would actually save the department some money over a deputy chief's position. So, with that said, I don't know if you would have any response to my question about when you think that it would be possible to fill that if we allowed and endorsed the deputy chief. But if you can't give us an idea, if it's going to be a couple of years out before that position could be filled, we think that could be detrimental to the department. And even though we'd love to see a deputy chief, we would have to try to look at other options to pursue what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, Mr. Marks, thank you. I don't think the Board of Selectmen can actually set a time frame on when, if we go with the deputy fire chief, when we could fulfill the other position. And to compound the issue, we do have a resignation of a firefighter on our agenda tonight. So to me, it's always been the firefighters, as you say, the boots on the ground, plus the effect on the budget of the deputy fire chief and a full-time. We would have to look at that. Things are tough, and they've been tough, and we have to look really careful at every nickel we spend. Questions, Mary?
Yeah, so he's asking for feedback. I do think the fire chief should have a second in command who's non-unionized, who can take on the reins of the chief when he's not around. I'm grappling with it, though, because I am uncomfortable forever not filling that other position. I understand the fire chief's scenario where you said they're both out and there's the fifth person left at the station and that person's a lame duck. And you'd still need mutual aid, or you'd still need to call in overtime. But you'd only need to call in one person. That person is still going to be available, so you're calling in one person for overtime if they get a call, not two. And so I agree with the union's position that fifth person who's back at the station is of use. If there's another call, you're not calling in two people, you're calling in one. So, I mean, I'd like to see what kind of relief we get from the government with respect to our COVID, and what percentage can be used for our budget, because we still don't know that. But I'm going to support the chief's request for a deputy, but I'm not really on board about forever doing away with that other firefighter position. I'm not really comfortable with that. I feel like it's one step forward and two steps back, and I know we have a tight budget right now, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. I mean, I would support filling that position as well in normal times if, because I think we can afford to do both, but I don't know this year if we're able to until we get that, until we see what kind of money is coming to help balance our budget. So in a normal year, yes, I think Sturbridge doesn't have to forego one management position and give up boots on the ground, and I don't think residents would want that either. But I don't think that this is the year that we can do that. So for me, I would support the deputy fire chief position, but at some point, I do want to look again at filling that vacancy. I don't see it as an either or into the future. So that's where I'm coming from.
Jeff?
I would agree. I don't think that when this was originally brought up, the idea was to get rid of that boots on the ground position. Ultimately, you want to add 3, so we have 5 on each shift.
Right.
So I think this is a temporary vacancy, and I think that's the way we want to phrase it. It's a temporary vacancy in that one position towards a larger goal of enhancing the overall operations of the department through additional personnel.
So I totally agree with what our town administrator just said. That's pretty much where I'm coming from.
And Jim and I had the same conversation today, and I told him I wish I could give him a date certain where we could backfill that position. Just don't know.
No, I know, and that's what I said, we can't make a promise that it'll be a year, it'll be 2 years. Budgets are tight, and I don't believe next year's budget's going to be any better. And I still stick with the idea that I would rather see a full-time, boots-on-the-ground person. Particularly, we'll be down another one, as I said, with the resignation. Okay, any other thoughts?
I would, I guess, say, I agree with Mary and a lot of what Jeff said too, and Mary Dowling, although I agree with you.
Yeah, you have to.
I always agree with you, Mary.
Double Mary.
Madam Chair, I always agree. But no, but I do think we have a chief to, this is a difficult decision, and fundamentally you hire subject matter experts to give you the way that for you, and that's why we have the chief. So I would support his position, although my sentiments are fairly similar to Mary's.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay, Mary?
I just want to say I'm glad, and at Chief Grasso, I'm not sure you intended to do this, but hearing from our town administrator, it seems very much like he supports, both. One moves forward sooner than the other. But when we had spoken, I thought you were committed to not filling at any point in time that vacancy and just making the deputy fire chief a replacement. See, that's what I wouldn't probably be on board with.
And if I portrayed that, I apologize,
Okay.
Ms. Dowling. Ultimately, like the town administrator said, I would very much like to see more personnel on shift. It would open a lot of opportunities for us as a department. But as has been said over and over, the economics currently don't support that.
Okay, so we're not going to dissolve that position, we're just not going to fill it right now? Or whatever the
That's correct.
proper term for that is, I don't know.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else?
I just want to say after the discussion, Chief, I really, really want to support you on this and get you that number 2. I'm just extremely struggling with the boots on the ground part of it. And right now, with everything that's going on, I'm having a tough time with that, as much as I want to get you that number 2.
If I could just say one thing on that. If I could just say one more thing, Jim, that, we went on to the SAFER grant, right? And the SAFER grant gave us 3 more bodies. And obviously, we would like to see in the future to be able to apply for more SAFER grants. We'd like to see the opportunity to have more on-call personnel. Our on-call and part-time base has dwindled to a lower number than we've had before. We would love the opportunity to, like I said, be able to move forward deputy chief position. But the hard part for us is that we feel like backwards. We're going backwards in the sense we put all this effort to get SAFER grants. We put all this effort in to increase the number of boots on the ground, increase the number of firefighters, and now we have a funded position that we would end up losing. A captain would fill a boot and a position. So a captain would fill a deputy chief position, and a captain would also be a boots on the ground. So a captain's position would be a win-win. Plus, it would save the town money. In fact, once again, we're not against it. We're just against the way it's going down, taking valuable resources, department, and we're talking about EMS calls, firefighters, fighting fires, people that we need there. We're taking away, and we're putting our hands into a deputy chief position, which once again, we do support just don't support it now and listen to some of the things. Like I said, I apologize because my internet went down in my office just a little while ago, so I missed some of it. And so without that person on that line, ability to be able to, and in the past, we haven't floated that fifth person. And I think that that is an option for us in case there's injuries, that we can float that fifth person to kind of eliminate the overtime, to kind of level out the playing field. If people get hurt, we're going to be relying solely on people to step up and fill those shifts. And if, people get tired, people can get, get a little silly when they get tired. This is a job that you cannot take and have that type of fatigue. And when we had two firefighters down, not too long ago, there were firefighters that were extremely fatigued. And I talked to them till I was blue in the face, and, their response was, the community needs to be serviced, and that's what we have to do. The dedication of the men and women of the Sturbridge Fire Department is phenomenal, and they will continue doing what they have to do, fatigued or not. But it does fit there for everybody. So that's why we have, with losing that boots on the ground, like I said, we support the deputy chief position, but in the end, I think a captain's position could alleviate the same issues, at the same time saving the town money, reevaluate it at a time when that funding can be allocated and things look a lot brighter for the town.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Marks. Anything else from the board? Mary?
Chief, remember when you first came on board, you did come forward with the vision of how many people you wanted, and how did that tie into the grant that the union's talking about? I'm sorry, when you were first hired, I'm not having a good recollection of this. You kind of laid out how many firefighters that you wanted staffed.
Right.
And in getting closer to what is the recommended amount at the according to the national level of the best practices, the equivalent of what is the best practice. Do you know what I'm trying to refer to? What is the goal?
I think so. So there's actually two things that I think you're kind of bringing up. One is that when I was hired, I was charged with creating a long-term succession plan for the department. And part of that plan included the hiring of a deputy fire chief. The other thing that I think you're referring to is that the NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association.
That's what I'm talking about.
Recommends, and very seriously recommends, what they call a 2-in, 2-out practice. Meaning that if two firefighters enter a structure, there are two firefighters on the exterior of their structure ready to go in case there needs to be support given to those two firefighters. As I mentioned earlier, having that fifth firefighter doesn't help us with that service. We have two ready to go in and two to follow them. That fifth firefighter, again, doesn't offer us an extra level of protection. It still requires us, and I understand what your comment was with regard to the overtime, that the service we provide is not going to change whether or not that person's standing in the firehouse, because I still have to get more people to respond to that.
I get it, but can you tell me again what the organization that you just referred to is?
NFPA.
NFPA,
Sure,
thank
the
you.
National Fire Protection Association.
Yes,
NFPA.
and didn't they make a recommendation with respect to how many firefighters we were supposed to have?
Not to my knowledge. And
I thought you said that.
I don't believe they would.
Okay, because I thought the discussion was that we felt woefully behind what is their recommendation. They don't.
Well, I think that's an accurate statement. When there were only 8 full-time firefighters, I think that's an accurate statement. But now we have 12, full-time firefighters, and that gives us really that 2 in, 2 out, because there are 4 assigned to each group right now.
Okay, anything from anyone else? Okay, we can either,
I can just say one more thing, and I think the chief's vision that he relayed to the department was that he wanted 5 officers on each company. That was the original vision. That was the vision that was talked to along with the deputy chief position, that his vision was for 5 officers on every company. The story that's being sold that fifth firefighter does us no good is incorrect. That 5th firefighter can get in a vehicle and head to the scene and stabilize the scene while we're waiting for an on-call to come in. So that 5th firefighter isn't just sitting there. They can respond to a call while other on-call firefighters are being called in to respond. So there's a little, I think, I get what the chief is doing, but in the end, he's not useless. He's not useless to the department at all. That 5th person has a value, and that value is, while we're waiting for an on-call, the response time to a scene to stabilize a scene is much greater and could possibly save somebody's life. So I don't think that saying that 5th firefighter is no value to the department. So I had to say that.
Did he say?
I respectfully disagree with Mr. Marks.
Mary?
Did you say that the goal was to have 5 firefighters on every shift?
That's a statement that was taken out of context.
No, I know. Is that what the union representative just said?
That's what they're saying. I said ideally I would love to see 5 firefighters on a group, but that I didn't know how realistic that was in the town of Sturbridge based on the call volume we have.
Okay, but that seems to ring a bell with me too when you came initially talking about the NFP. But anyways, we are a lot closer than we were when you had that conversation with us. We were at 8. But I thought the goal was even more than 12, but thank you.
Okay, so we're at a position where we can move along and make a motion one way or the other, or at Mr. Marks's suggestion, we can have the chief look at a captain position and how that would affect everything. What's the board's pleasure?
That would be good.
Should we move? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, good.
No, should we, is it time to vote on whether or not we want to do this? I mean, this has come up.
If you
quite a
want
few
to, I mean,
times.
we've been sitting on it long enough. I mean, Mary Lou retired when?
Is everybody kind
Last year.
of mind made up?
You know,
But this idea wasn't presented to us until relatively not that long ago.
And I mean, we are facing a resignation. Is this something where this resignation would be better filled with that captain position, and that puts us, or are we then overstaffing?
Well, and there's a cost item. I mean,
Right.
captains make overtime. You're talking about an overtime rate at about 62.45 probably per hour, which I'm not suggesting isn't worthwhile as you get up to the appropriate staffing ratios. But I think you have to almost create a logical model with it where it's, okay, well, we have a deputy chief, because then if the chief gets injured or goes down, we have an immediate replacement that's trained with a certain amount of value that can operate during business hours. And then subsequent to that, we have to figure out long-term how we address the boots on the ground staffing, which we've demonstrated a commitment to. Now, how you do that over time is going to depend on budget, and I don't think we're in a situation to make promises on that. So I think personally think we have to either make a decision on the deputy chief and go for it, or we're replacing a boots on the ground position if the board doesn't support it. I think we just have to make a decision.
well, no, that was the option. I really don't think we can wait, and obviously, you know, I think we have enough information. So someone would need to make a motion one way or another on the request. Jeff?
Quick comment. The resignation tonight is a call firefighter, not one of the full-time. Also, when Chief Grasso went down with COVID, he could have went down hard. He was still able to function from home and do some administrative work, but if that had been more severe, or in the past, when you've had a vacancy in the chief's position, the police chief took over the department. This is where my concern is. I would love, I came up through the fire department with my father. He was a volunteer. I was a volunteer. I'd love to have more firefighters. I'm just as concerned in taking the patrol position off the street with the lieutenant's position in the police department. It's the same conversation, right? But I need who's in charge, right? Particularly in my position, who's in charge? This weekend, we didn't have, the chief was in Marlboro. He came back for this car accident. Now, he would have come back anyway, given the severity. But there's been other instances when he can't put it down because he's the only one, right? That's difficult for any professional. When do you get a chance to put it down? When do you get a chance to recharge yourself, right? So those are issues that I look at in my command staff. You got to be able to put it down every now and then.
Talk about you?
And this deputy chief's position allows him to put it down and move on to other things to progress the department forward.
Who's talking?
Mary?
Well, I'll just put a motion out there and let it roll, see where it goes. I've put out others that don't get adopted plenty of times. I'm going to make a motion to support the chief's request for a deputy fire chief, but this is not in lieu of ultimately filling the vacant firefighter position.
I second that motion.
Why?
Okay, wait a minute, I just want to... Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the motion? 3, all opposed? 2, motion passes. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good night.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have a change order request for the Fiskill Pump Station in the amount of $9,377.38. Okay, you there, Butch?
Yeah,
How were the potato chips?
oh, they were delicious. And I think everybody in town saw it, they're all texting me. The tank is a pressure tank that's in the ground. It's been there since the 30s. We don't know how big it is. We were originally going to take it out ourselves, but in the construction, when we found the end of it is over towards the road more, the little road that goes in the back of the pump station. So we're thinking that tank is much larger than we thought. Plus, to take it out after the project's done, we will have to remove the fence, and we're not even sure if we can handle the size of the tank. So we want a big contract to do it while he's there.
Okay, any questions, comments from the board? Okay, somebody want to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion to approve.
The change order?
Oh, yeah,
two?
yes, to change over to hire a contractor to remove the tank.
In the amount of?
It is $9,377.38.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, next we have consideration and possible action on acceptance of a donation to the Sturbridge Fire Department and authorize its use in support thereof. Okay, it's a donation of $50 from a person expressing their appreciation for help. Okay, do we have a motion then?
I'll make the motion to accept the gift with thanks.
And authorize the
Oh,
use.
and authorize the use and support by the Sturbridge Fire Department.
Okay, is there a Jeff?
And that's really why you accept them. It's not to accept it, it's to be able to use it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, all in favor? Okay, next we have a letter of resignation from Tony Messina with regret as a call firefighter, EMT, in the Sturbridge Fire Department, effective May 9th, 2021. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the resignation of Anthony Messina as a call firefighter effective May 9th with regret.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, discussion, all in favor? Okay, next we have consideration and possible action on disposing by sale, auction, or scrap, two DPW vehicles, 2006 GMC C5500 and a 205 Chevrolet Silverado 2500. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to authorize town staff to dispose of the 2 trucks by sale or auction.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, next we have consideration and possible action on change order number 2 for the agreement with New England Mechanical Services for the R2U number 1 at the Public Safety Complex, and number 2 change to New England Mechanical Services RTU number 1. Okay, does the board have any questions that you would want Robin to answer? Okay, is there a motion then?
I'll make the motion to approve the change order number 2 in the amount of $8,984 for the rooftop Unit 1 project at the Public Safety Building.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, next we have COVID-19 update. This is under old business.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair and board members. I had sent out an email or a text about a planned Walgreens vaccination clinic at the senior center. They were going to use the Johnson & Johnson vaccine on that day. Now that is in question due to the temporary halting of using the J&J vaccine. So we're still working with Walgreens to see if they're going to be able to replace it with a different vaccine. Other than that, the process continues to vaccinate the public. Be happy to answer any questions about it.
Okay, Mary?
That was my only question, what were they going to do about the senior center, Johnson & Johnson, but they're trying maybe to get one of the other two.
Leslie's working on it with Walgreens, but
Nice.
we don't know yet.
I'm just going to reiterate my desire to open up our meetings to whoever is coming forward, rather than doing it remotely. I mean, we need to still offer remote, but I find for us to reach the maximum capacity is just not going to happen. I mean, we in all my years sitting here, I don't think we've ever reached maximum capacity for this room, and I don't think we're going to reach it with the COVID restrictions. So I'm just going to put it out there again that I think we should have the people coming before us should have a choice of either coming in or doing it remotely. And I don't, I know we were worried about a public hearing where we're going to exceed our limits, but that's true even absent COVID. Buildings have a maximum amount of people, and in those cases, you open up another room or you address it that way. And the likelihood of that happening based on our agenda items is extremely low. And I think residents probably would appreciate it, because I get a lot of people saying they have a hard time understanding people with the go-to meeting. So I'm just putting it out there for people, for board members' thoughts.
Well, I was just going to say, no, it's always nice to have people. Jeff, we'd have to check what the capacity of this is and what the guidelines are from the state right now as far as...
We're still limited, not from it's from a space point of view, the number of people, social distancing, those type of issues. But not everybody here has been vaccinated. So that's a consideration as well.
No, I know we'd like to do it as soon as we can, but it's true.
And
Jamie?
Madam Chair, that's what I was going to say, that has vaccination opened up to the entire state yesterday, I think, that we're almost probably there anyways. So, at least for people who want to be vaccinated. So, I would hate to rush it when we're almost already there, I think it's going to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get their first shot, and then if it's the two-shotter, 4 weeks later, so by summer, we should be there.
Yeah.
I would hope a couple months, we should be able to have a much different setup.
Right.
Okay, as long as we have like a certain goal, that would be,
I would
Well,
hope by
we
the
do.
middle of summer,
we'll be back.
We'll be open for
we'll be at
business.
least-
I mean, I still think even in the middle of the summer, we should be remote as well, because I still don't think people will want to, but I would like to give people the choice once vaccinations are available. That's true. I need to think about people who didn't have them yet, so.
And some people who won't get them.
Yeah, but yeah,
Well, that's
true.
That's their
But that is a
That's
different
right.
consideration. Yeah.
Okay, next. Oh, old business. Chase, do you have any old business?
I have no old, thank you.
Mary?
No.
Ian?
Nope.
And Jamie?
It would seem impossible.
Make up something, and I have none. Okay, new business. We have discussion of vacant lieutenant position in the Sturbridge Police Department. Chief, would you like to address this?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. I'll just go back to the beginning of the first lieutenant. Back in 2004, the Sturbridge Police Department put on its first lieutenant, and at that point, from that point forward, we've always had 6 people in our management staff. Back then, it was 4 sergeants, a lieutenant, and then the police chief. In 2010, Chief Ford thought it would be more efficient and effective to run the police department with 2 lieutenants, an administrative lieutenant and operations lieutenant, and get the sergeants back on the road so they can do field supervision, be out there making decisions. Up in 2018, November 2018, Lieutenant Mark Soloil left me as the lieutenant, just overseeing operations and the administrative side of the house. However, what that caused me to do in order to complete my workload, I had to pull the sergeants back in and divide up my work because there was just too much work for one lieutenant to do what was 2 lieutenants' assignments. So when I got promoted to chief, I really felt it was necessary to put the sergeants back out on the road, especially with the way police reform is today. And I feel strongly that the department was running efficiently and very effectively from 2010, when this workload was split up between the 2 lieutenants and the 3 sergeants, still having 6 supervisors, opposed to currently where I stand, I have 3 sergeants, 1 lieutenant, and 1 chief. So overall, I've lost an additional supervisor when the times are not now to be losing supervision in the police field. So that's why I'm coming to the board asking if I can refill this position that's went vacant for only 1 fiscal year. Just the last fiscal year was not funded. I did do out the calculations for you. There was an increase in salary and wages, but I was able to deduct some overtime from the overtime account because when Chief Ford did not fill this position, he added additional overtime to the budget. So what I could do is I could remove that overtime from the budget, from the overtime budget, because the lieutenant's position is FLSA exempt, no overtime. And I can also move the lieutenant's position, operations lieutenant, up to cover partial eve shift where I can have access to both the lieutenants for our department meetings and whatnot, but I would be able to maximize my supervisory coverage by putting the operations lieutenant who would act as like semi-eve shift, Monday through Friday, watch commander.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Chief, refilling this position, that will put more boots on the ground.
Yes, basically, essentially what I'm doing now is I'm going to take that patrol officer spot, basically do just like I watched you do with the deputy fire chief. but at the same time, we're operating a little different. These sergeants are now their administrative responsibility is gonna be dramatically reduced to where they're just doing case management and they're out in the field making decisions. So yeah, one's coming in, 3 people on each shift. The first shift, second shift, third shift sergeant are gonna be able to spend more time on the road. They're gonna go to calls, they're gonna go to the search warrants, they're gonna go where supervisory action is needed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mary?
It seems like this is so similar to the fire chief, in some ways. It's not totally the same, but, you know, in your memo, you say, this vacancy in the lieutenant's position was the result of using retirement of a lieutenant to add a patrol person, which is what our prior chief did. And now this current request would reverse that arrangement. So is this like a different philosophy than what Chief Ford had in terms of what is the most useful position to the department? Because it is exactly doing the opposite. He didn't fill the lieutenant position. He wanted a patrol position, and now we have the vacant patrol position, but you'd rather fill the lieutenant position. So is it a difference in you know, I don't want to put you on the spot, but it seems like your philosophy might be a little different in this regard.
Yeah, I don't remember what Chief Ford's was, but like I said, in 2010, he had it, and we had that position from 2010 to 2018, the end of 2018, when Lieutenant Saloy left. And what he did is he added additional money to the overtime budget, and basically what that does to my sergeants, it says, hey, you guys have to stay above and beyond what your 40-hour week is, because this work needs to get done, and we're willing to pay you overtime to get it done, where I feel like I can have somebody in that position that's working on that administrative duties, and I don't have to pay them overtime to do it. They come in, they do it on their shift, and, I watched it in action for 8 years, and then I watched me just doing those 2 jobs by myself, and I watched the impact that it had on the patrol staff, where I'm taking their sergeants in off the road when they could really use their sergeants out there helping them make decisions.
All right. And so I just explain a little bit. So we're not going to fill the patrol position.
We still have a patrol vacancy. The number's not going to change, so it'll be 20. 20 is our sworn personnel right now. That's not going to change.
Chief, your audio is, Chief, hold on. Your audio, can you kind of reset your microphone a little bit maybe, or?
But what I'm asking.
Better?
Say that again?
Any better?
No.
No, you're pretty muffled. I guess I don't Chief, just because I'm not, really familiar that much with how the police, operation is, obviously not like you. I don't know, how is this not going to create some overtime in the patrol officer position if you don't fill the patrol officer position? I can't envision how it reduces the overtime.
I think he's calling in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that you, Chief?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Turn the sound off on your computer, please.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah.
It's better.
It's better. I mean, you can see it's off because it's red. So I'm just wondering, when you're not filling a patrol officer position and you're filling your lieutenant instead, and you said the cost can be absorbed like $11,000, putting the money aside, I still don't understand how it's going to reduce overtime if you're down one patrol officer and you need a patrol officer. Like, I don't totally get that.
I'm only reducing administrative overtime is what I'm saying. That overtime that I'm cutting was sergeants doing administrative duties. So there's still going to be overtime. There's going to be holdovers. There's going to be everything that happens in the police world. But I'm reducing administrative overtime that was earmarked for
sergeants to hang over their shifts to help me do administrative work.
Okay, so it's the sergeants that had overtime because they were doing lieutenant work, and that's not going to happen
Correct.
with the lieutenant position. And I'm asking, I guess I'm asking a slightly different question then. How is not filling the patrol position going to affect the overtime in the patrol line item for your patrol officers? It seems to me that that's going to increase overtime there, no?
I don't think so. I'm not increasing my overtime for anything additional. I'm just simply taking out what Chief Ford put in for the sergeants to be held over on their shifts to do administrative assignments. You know, and additional, where I gain also is I get about 136 man hours I gain as well by having a lieutenant, because I get 17 extra days out of them. They're not in the union, so they work a 5-2 schedule. So unlike the union members, they get 17 extra days off. So in addition, I gain those hours as well. There's always going to be patrol overtime. There's always something that's going on. So I would not be accurate if I said this is going to decrease the patrol overtime. What happens in patrol is going to happen in patrol. And sometimes, as you know, it's unpredictable. Anything could happen at any time.
But you don't think it would increase it either by not filling that vacancy?
I don't think it will increase it, no.
Do you hope to fill that vacancy? And you just want to fill the lieutenant first? Or what is your position on the vacancy for the patrol officer?
There is, without a doubt, and I would not want to make any mistake about this, that the Sturbridge Police Department has been asking for manpower for many years. As long as I've been here, 14 years, Chief Ford has asked for it. He asked for it because we need it. This year I was asked to level service my budget, and that's what I did. So next year I will plan on asking, unless there's some other extreme circumstances, to continue to try to get patrol officers filled.
Yep, kind of the same thing as we already faced with the firefighter.
Exact same thing.
You know, so it's tough.
Anything else from anyone else?
I
Chase?
see it as a little different. I want to explain to you why. The first thing that is different is their union completely endorsed the position. So, to me, that right there is a difference. And the second is, by adding this position, you have those 3 sergeants with
On the
boots on the
road.
ground. So, there is a difference. So, I just want everybody to know where I'm coming from.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Jamie?
Well, it also is much.
Jamie, your mic's a mile away.
I mean, but I think there's a staffing difference as well. I mean, the fire department's quite a bit smaller than the police department, right? I mean, I would say it's probably 30 officers, chief, in the police, 30 officers all sworn in the police department?
Well, we have 20 sworn officers, and we have 7 full-time dispatchers. And part of our lieutenant's duties is to overlook the communication center as well. So there's that aspect of it.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that that's too many. It's just that that's sort of the tension. So when you have a small fire department and you're creating a structure for it, and then hopefully we all, I think, agree that long-term you're creating growth for everybody, you know? So.
Yeah.
Okay, Ian, your thoughts?
I would be in agreement with Chase where it's a little bit different scenario where
Yeah.
it seems like this is what the chief's looking to do and this is the direction he's trying to take it. His union is backing him and agrees. So I would have to yield to experience in policing and kind of follow along.
No, I totally agree with what Chase said. That sergeants now will be out on the road instead of doing administrative work.
I just have a question.
Mary?
Chief, the letter from the union's quite a bit shorter than the police letter, the Teamsters, and I'm wondering, is the union well aware that you're not planning on filling the patrol officer position right now, but you're filling the lieutenants? Because they don't address that at all. And I'm just wondering if that was just, I'm just wondering if we're reading in between the lines to think that they don't want that other position filled. Are they aware that you're not going to?
I can't speak for them. They did know that this was not adding additional manpower. I made that very clear. We'll have 20 today or we'll have 20 tomorrow. It's not going to be 21. It's not going to be 22 until we get extra manpower. What I did do when I spoke to the union, I said, hey, you know what? I think they recognized
the administrative workload that the command staff does here, and I think they just supported it. However, having said that, I know they too are getting burnt out from not having the manpower they need, and I committed to them that next fiscal year, I am going to come to the board and the finance committee, and I'm going to ask for perhaps a detective to get started, and maybe an additional police officer. But they are aware of it. There was no sneaky stuff. They know that I'm 20 today or 20 tomorrow.
But you did tell them next year that you're going to come forward with a request for 1 or 2, a detective and a patrol officer.
Yes, they do know that my ultimate goal is to bring in the staff and that we've been trying to get in for years, and that's my plan. So yes.
All right, I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Okay, so the board would like to move forward one way or the other with this request. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to fill the second lieutenant's position.
I'll second, yeah. Okay, go ahead, Jamie.
I'll second it. Yep.
Okay, any discussion?
Just so we're clear on the motion, that would include the additional dollars added to the budget to accommodate.
Oh, yeah, it would have to. Okay, all those in favor? Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. I just have one question. Is this something that I can go ahead and fill now? Like, not tonight, obviously, in the next Board of Selectmen, put up the promotions?
The guy in the back.
Yes, Chief, this has been approved. You can
Yes.
move forward with a promotional process or a recruiting process.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support.
Have a good night, Chief.
Good night.
Take care, Chief.
Thanks.
Okay, next, this discussion, I know Mike Supranat brought this up. It has not been a big thing. There's only been one person that asked about it. I don't see much being accomplished by one little town sending a letter when it's been discontinued countrywide. That's just my opinion. Anyone else?
I agree, Charter's gonna do whatever they want.
Yeah.
regardless, so, yeah.
They don't listen to their customers, why would they listen to
That small little hip town, they're trying to tell us what to do. You know, so, I mean, Jeff did check into it, and he found out they countrywide, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they replaced the app with the new app.
Yeah, so, I think we'll,
Charter's spoken.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
No, send the letter, no?
No, don't. Okay, any new business, Chase?
I have no new, thank you.
Mary?
No.
Ian? Jamie? Okay, my only business is we're going to have to set another meeting to go over the line item budget. Just strictly line item budget.
And did you want to take up any warrants that may be completed?
Later by then, yeah, just, yeah, the town meeting, special town meeting, just,
Monday, the 26th is open, I believe. Let me check online. Alex, is the 26th open? Did she leave?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, the 26th, Monday, the 26th.
Has anybody got?
Let me see. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, I don't see anything.
yeah, because I know the 27th, planning board's meeting and the 29th FinCom's meeting. So is everybody available the 26th?
What time are we today?
Open for debate.
As long as it's after 6, I can do it.
Okay, you want to do a normal 6:30? Chase, Mary?
Yes, I'm fine.
I'm gonna be 50-50 on it, but I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's good for everybody else, then move on with it.
Okay. Did you get that, Jeff?
6:30. 6:30 to 6:45.
That's,
all yours.
well, sometimes it takes longer to read through that,
No, of course. But 6:30.
but not that long.
Get it set.
Yeah. Okay, next we have correspondence. Chase?
Okay, April 5th, 2021, notice of temporary solution statement, Kerboy Junkyard, letter from Benson Gould, principal of CMG, to Jeff Bridges. April 5th, 2021, St. Luke's Guest House, temporary shelter, Christian Hospitality, newsletter from St. Luke's Guest House to Jeff Bridges. April 7th, 2021, PPE, thank you, letter from Erin Nozick, superintendent of schools for Tantasco Regional School, Union 61 District, to Chief Dessert. April 7th, 2021, PPE, thank you. Letter from Erin Nozick, Superintendent of Schools for Tantasco Regional School Union 61 Districts, to Matthew White. April 9th, 2021, Charter Communications, upcoming changes. Letter from John Maher, Director of Government Affairs, to Jeff Bridges. April 9th, 2021, Mass DOT Shared Winter Streets and Spaces Program. Letter from Jamie Tesler, Acting Secretary and CEO of Mass DOT, to Jeff Bridges. April 12th, 2021, notification to abutters for RV management services. Notification from the Sturbridge Conservation Commission, to Jeff Bridges. April 15th, 2021, Sturbridge Villager, donate life photo, published in the Sturbridge Villager on 4/16/21. April 15th, 2021, Southbridge Evening News, donate life photo, published in the Southbridge Evening News on 4/15/2021.
Okay, anyone else have any other correspondence?
Fast enough. I was going to.
The only thing
I
is,
didn't want
Trails
to be
moved their
sudden.
cleanup day to Saturday. It got rain.
Right.
Snowed out.
Snowed out.
Yeah. So the trails are doing a cleanup from, I believe it starts at 8 o'clock in
8.
the morning? Yeah, 8 to noon. So it got moved because of snow.
Right,
So that.
which was not very pleasant,
My
but,
work gloves on.
okay. Citizens Forum?
Good evening. Is there anyone on the public line that would like to address the Board of Selectmen? Good evening. Is there anyone on the public line that would like to address the Board of Selectmen?
Nope. Okay, before I make a motion to adjourn, I'd just like to thank you people for your confidence in the election tonight.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thank you for all you do.
We all try. Just happen to live closer and I can run in and sign things easier.
You taught me third grade math.
I know. Spelling too, I mean, you picked up
I'll
Westville.
race you sometime.
And
You said you'd run in.
Good conversation tonight, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, Jamie.
Yeah.
Good conversation.
I do think long-term, and I know Chief Ford had asked for years.
Oh,
But I do think should be one of our long-term goals, is staffing at our public safety departments. I think it's critical.
it's critical, Jeff, but you know me, curmudgeon. We have a good staff. You look at, and good numbers. You look at towns around us and they don't have nearly what we have. And I know Chief Ford asked and asked and asked and asked and asked, but has to be justified. I mean, our budget is getting really up there. You know, I don't disagree. Public safety is important, but I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I think you have to approve the minutes, right?
Oh, thank you.
All right, we're rescinding that, taking it back.
I'll take it back. So we have approval of minutes. April 5th, 2021,
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
as written. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any comments? All in favor? Okay, and one abstain. Okay, now I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Okay. See you all
We gotta
Monday.
vote,
Get a
man.
vote.
Oh, we didn't vote?
All in favor.
All in favor?
Mary, you don't,
And it's only 8:30.
you're not usually the motion to